with that, I would like to start the meeting. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It is August 22nd.
Okay, we got it.
24. And I'd like to call this meeting to order. It is the Town of Fort Myers Beach Cultural and Environmental Learning Center Advisory Board, commonly known as CELCAB. And we'd like to call the meeting to order, beginning with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff.
Yes, that's nice. That was good.
And we'll start with Jeff doing roll call.
Jeff Hogan.
Adam Knight.
Thank you.
Pat McCown.
Betty Simpson.
Barbara Hill.
Sherry Smith.
Gary Henderson.
Ellen Vaughn.
Becky Werner.
Jim Anderhill.
Thank you all for being here. My goodness, I do believe we have a full
We certainly
group
do.
today.
Yabba dabba doo.
Fabulous. Thank you again. I mean, that's really huge when we can get everyone together, especially during the summer months when a lot of people are out of town. So that's much appreciated. Hopefully everyone's had an opportunity to look at the minutes, and I'd like to entertain a motion to approve.
I would entertain a motion. I'll move that we approve the minutes of the June 20th, 2024 meeting.
Okay, thank you, Betty.
And I'll second that.
Second, Betty Vaughn. Thank you. Any other changes or corrections or amendments? There being none, I'll vote to approve.
Aye.
Aye.
None opposed, assumedly. Thank you. Public comment. There's no one in the audience at the moment, so we'll move on to. It could change, so we never know. And we'll go on to the staff liaison report. And before I mention that, I just want you all to know that Adam has been working so hard since June on this map process, unbelievably so, with regard to, you know, the Museum of Assessment, and you saw this collection policy. It's a veritable tome, and so in the event that you wonder what staff does, kudos to them for doing 150%, Adam and Jeff.
But
Way to go. Nice job.
100% of that.
To both of you.
Thank you. Ditto on the staff report. Thank you, Barbara. So just real brief, I'm looking at the this single sheet of paper, July 24, August 24 Mountain House updates. So if you want me to go back, I'm more than welcome to expand.
Since our June meeting, since we've not met
Exactly.
since June, that would be lovely. Thank
Exactly. Just since we haven't been met since the end of June, I'm going to give you a brief overview since then. So some exciting news. You might recall there was a grant-funded project to install a water quality gauge here at Mound House through a generous donation from the Fort Myers Beach Chamber of Commerce Water Foundation. I'm happy to say that we got an additional grant from them to purchase the much-needed maintenance supplies that can actually calibrate the equipment for its installation. So if you're wondering why I haven't spoken about it since then, it's because we're waiting on this additional grant funding cycle to fund a year worth of maintenance equipment to calibrate the equipment to get it installed. In terms of marketing, we started a digital marketing campaign on TripAdvisor and Google Ads, as well as running a mail flyer coupon to 20,000 households in the Bonita Springs and South Fort Myers area. And that will continue monthly on the 15th, from June 15th until November 15th, 6-month period.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
On the digital marketing, is that targeting the same area, or where is that targeting?
Great question. So in terms of the digital marketing and TripAdvisor and Google Ads, those are usually targeting, it's a conversion marketing technique, so it's people who are already in the area looking for additional things to do in the Lee County area. Or excuse me, not Lee County area, the surrounding area. So Collier, Charlotte.
Color, Lee, and the whole area?
That's
Okay.
the surrounding outside of Lee County area, since the funding is from the Lee County VCB.
Right.
So it's bringing people into Lee County. So it's
Okay.
targeting those neighboring areas.
Okay.
On those pop-up ads, fly-in banners, TripAdvisor, as well as doing a, I forgot the exact terminology right now, the, when someone visits our website and they don't purchase anything.
Retargeting them?
It's a retargeting,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
retargeting ad for our kayak tours. And
Oh.
offering a discount to our kayak tours through that retargeting program.
Okay.
Through tracking.
Okay.
Adam, just real quick, what kind
Yes.
of a response have you had to the direct mail pieces? And are you actually seeing coupons come in? And what's your return on your investment for those coupons and that direct mail?
Mhm. Great question. So in terms of the direct mailing, we're only just now the third month of mailing went out. So we've only seen a couple calls. We haven't seen anyone come in for the for the couponing. But I think the consistency in terms of us doing this reach campaign and awareness campaign that we do exist to the surrounding household.
Does the direct mail piece actually contain the hard copy of the coupon?
Yes,
Okay. So you'll see it, obviously. They'll have to bring it in to redeem it, correct?
exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So no one yet, but the third month just went out.
Okay.
Did we do a QR code on that? Because I never did see the design on that. Was there a QR code on that too, so that,
There is a QR code
Okay.
and then a tracked call.
right,
number.
okay, all right.
I have another question
Yes.
about the, because in the minutes it said that there was a partnership that we've got for the digital ad campaign.
Mhm.
Who is that?
That's priority marketing.
Oh, okay. And are they hired by us to do our marketing?
For the digital ad campaign, yes.
Okay.
Not all of our marketing.
Okay.
Could we see the reports on that? Could we see the impressions and all the numbers on that? Because I know how to read all that stuff, so I'd love to just see what you can get on that. For
Absolutely.
each month, I would like to see what we get on it.
Absolutely, yeah. I
Okay,
can
have them
submit
break
to.
that out for you, and if you have any questions, call me and I'll tell you exactly what I want to see on it, so we can really look at it.
Yeah, I've received the report from July, so I can forward that at the end of this meeting.
Wonderful,
So,
thank you.
You're welcome. Electrical system for the underground needs repairs. We're taking quotes now to have more lights downstairs, basically. We're also getting, or have received since also August, we got designs and new visitor navigation signs that have come in to better facilitate public navigation of the site, even whenever we're closed, since the property is open 7 days a week. And also in terms of getting the Mound House property into ADA compliance. There's several violations that the Mound House has in terms of not being ADA compliant in regards to small things, no sign here, no braille sign there, that we're working on, and I'll give you more update as we continue moving throughout that process.
This is an ADA question, that
Yes.
maybe braille signs.
Yes.
I don't see how there could be any way for someone who is blind to navigate the property without help. So what good do braille signs do?
Well, I mean, people who are blind and with vision impairment do visit the property and have a right to enjoy the property, just like
well,
anyone
no,
else.
and I absolutely.
And it is under ADA law, and it's we should not assume that people need help,
Right.
nor that they want help, nor
I
that
mean,
they
are
are
we going to have to
dependent.
string ropes up along the path?
No, but I think it's just like when you go to a public place and even the restrooms have braille on them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, they obviously don't, to your point, they wouldn't know exactly where the bathrooms are, but it's just part of the ADA compliance.
Could it also be that some folks are not 100%?
That's true, and that's
And they
true.
can see and get around, but they couldn't read a sign?
Oh, good point. Very good point.
yeah, that's a great point.
Yes.
My guess is that at that point, never mind.
We're also getting quotes for increasing or having, just having outdoor lighting on the site for safety and navigation, as well increasing capacity for increased revenue for the town for event rentals. So that's underway. And they are going to be turtle friendly, environmentally friendly, downward casting, and only facing towards the pathway as not to disturb neighbors nor visitors or wildlife from the water or the air, while not being too obtrusive as to ruin any sight lines, for example. They're
Will
going to
they
be
be-
flush. They're going to be basically the puck lights is what the current plan is.
Will they go off at a certain time, like 10 o'clock at night or something?
We haven't got that far in the process. We're still reviewing a couple quotes and the different systems and technologies they use.
Is it the case that they would not be embedded enough in the ground that you would have to do archaeological things?
They would be, no, short answer.
And that was the goal of that, was that we
I love
didn't have to go too deep. And
Short answer, no.
No, they won't be too deep. We're also integrating, it was July 29th, our museum registrar, Brianna Barasco, actually got married, so you might have heard another last name last time, but she got married. So Brianna Barasco, she's doing an amazing job in cataloging the collection. We've purchased an additional, we were renting an additional storage unit nearby our existing storage unit, and she's currently reviewing the collections, more specifically the artifacts, and has grouped everything by excavation and collection. And afterwards, because I know a lot of the CELCAB members have been here a long time, especially as volunteers, with the various directors, especially Teresa and Allison transition, the records end in 2014. All records of all kind. So I'm asking for your or any community member support who have information regarding the state of artifacts or the movement artifacts. So you can talk to me later, or you can email me or reach out or call the Mound House. If you have information pertaining to the artifacts or the state of the artifacts after basically starting in 2013 to 2015. So those 3-year periods, there's some discrepancies and gaps that we want to tackle and investigate further.
And if you haven't met Brianna, or what did you go by, Breezy?
Breezy.
She is really enthusiastic and has a wonderful personality and is just wanting to do this job and so excited about it, so it's awesome to have her on board.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Where is she located? Is she at Town Hall or here?
She's here.
Here.
Well, right now she's mostly at the storage unit.
Okay, that's what I figured.
But her office is here.
Okay, thank you.
It seems like it would be perhaps advantageous to have her interview those of you who were here in those years. That
We old ones.
Yes,
I was a newbie in those years, so I really didn't know much, but these people do.
Before 2014?
before Allison.
I'm sorry, I heard
What was
after.
the most recent?
So really 2013 to 2015. The most recent, that's the period we're interested in, as records stop with Teresa's departure.
But you have the records that she left.
No.
You don't have the records that Teresa left.
There are some records that are incomplete. We have email correspondence whereby everything was done by mouth or by oral communication, so there weren't written records, let alone inventory. So we're currently backtracking and starting basically from square one with the collection. So if you have any information regarding the movement of artifacts or the location of artifacts, or what maybe some of the shorthand that was referred to in email correspondence between town staff at the time or volunteers or other vendors, like the safe. I'm assuming the old safe at Town Hall, but I could be wrong. But again, we can talk more later about that in more detail, just for the sake of time.
Did we ever get a hold of Teresa?
No, she hasn't responded to us yet. I'm looking forward to it. So.
I wonder if interviewing Park Lewis would be helpful.
Yes.
Well, Park, you've done a lot.
And he's been quite responsive over a number of different issues. So
Susan Grace might have some information.
oh yeah.
On artifacts.
I think it's been known that in that period of time between Teresa and Allison,
It was
chaotic.
It was
it was
chaos.
chaotic
It
and
was
stuff
chaos.
didn't happen or did happen and we don't know about it.
Yeah.
But I think Park would be a good source because he was sort of a
Yeah.
constant during those
He was
years.
here.
And then we're looking at plans on, of course, once the new town hall is open, having that permanent collection storage installed and having it all under one roof that's owned by the town. So we're making plans for that. And then finally, we're, or have been working on getting replacements for the gutters, quotes for the dock lighting repair that was brought up at the last CELCAB meeting, as well as looking at expanding the parking lot here at Mound House proper with a small parking lot. I brought this to your attention, I think in the February meeting of CELCAB. Y'all voted in favor of looking into expanding along that street between the two entrance gates, between the small parking lot and the main entrance gate of the one-way drive. So we're looking in that and working with the zoning department to make sure all the ducks are in one row, going through the proper channels and all that fun stuff.
Now, Adam, a question about
Yes.
that. I think during our June meeting, there was talk about removing disabled palms. Is that in the plan still? I mean, that was apparently
Of relocating.
Relocate.
Yes.
of relocating them. And so when is that, do you have to wait for zoning to do any of that?
Yes, we're basically waiting on this one stop, if
Okay.
it's even possible to have the parking lot there under their specifications.
So we want to get it all approved before we obviously do anything, because we don't want to take them out and then something comes up and we're not approved for it, and then
Right.
we're out some trees on the property.
Yeah,
Right.
we're looking at a larger holistic scope in terms of the stormwater project, traffic, potential traffic in the next few years, especially if the property at the end of Connecticut that was recently sold is developed into multi-density unit, you know, how would that affect
The other end, huh?
at Beach Baptist?
Oh,
The
yeah,
former
yeah.
Beach Baptist property. So we're considering all factors and possible factors in terms of the future of the Mountain House property and that of Connecticut Street.
In that conversation, is there an opportunity to revisit the extension of the sidewalk? Because at the time, the neighbors voted against it, but we still feel it's an appropriate thing to have for safety of our pedestrians that come.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's been a conversation within our, the staff level lately, again, being brought up. Yes, we need additional parking, but we are, and Adam and his staff are doing a great job of trying to promote this for different events, and that is just a critical part as far as public safety goes on my end.
Absolutely.
They're either walking through somebody's yard, or they're getting potential with all the traffic coming in for an event and walking down that way. So
Right.
I would like to revisit that again,
Oh, good.
and we would have funds available to do that, to do a sidewalk project.
So that would be then a town-funded project, or would that?
Yeah, we could use either impact fees, or we could use gas tax for that as well.
And do you have to have neighbor consent, once again?
I don't know, I mean, maybe Jim can maybe talk more about that, but I don't know if we need consent. They obviously had their opinions last time,
Yes.
which drove the council to probably their decision ultimately to not do it. I wasn't here at the time, maybe Jim.
I wasn't on the council when
Okay.
it was decided, but I am curious as to how many of the remonstrators are still in the area.
I'm
That's what I
not
was thinking.
Well, I think
Some
one
of
of them certainly is the
they
one
were
that's
on that
building the
side.
monstrosity next door.
Yeah,
But it's
you are
him
still
or his
here.
kids that are doing that now, that's
Mhm.
building it.
Right.
Yeah, but
Oh,
They're
they're doing the
even,
same. Oh,
they're
okay.
even more
And-
vehement than he
yeah.
was.
Oh,
If you can
yeah.
believe
And
it.
I understand that it's gonna be part of our easement, and they're gonna be walking in front of the houses, but they already do
But
that.
they do that anyway.
And I understand as a homeowner, them, people having their opinion, and it's there. So I get that whole part too. I just think on our end for public safety and.
Just for my benefit, would the sidewalk be on the Beach Baptist side or the other side or both sides?
I don't know, what was the-
Beach Baptist.
Baptist.
That's what
And I think there is a right of way.
Because the.
There's usually right away on our street, so when you come across, we wouldn't even have to go down that far, even we could do a crosswalk,
Yeah.
with a sign or something, depending on how it's gonna look. I have not seen a design how it was laid out before. I just know that's been a topic for a while since I've been here.
I do think it would be a great conversation to have before not only Beach Baptist does their work, but the developer does their work that's facing Estero. Do you know Beach Baptist sold the land that abuts
Yeah.
Estero? I think they're gonna do 12 units there, I think,
Yes.
homes, and then Beach Baptist will do their church, etc. But I think while all that's going on to do this sidewalk would probably be pretty good time.
No, it would definitely.
Just think about it.
But there's
That
sidewalk down
sidewalk, they
there.
already have the
They-
sidewalk in front of
It
the
would just be an
house to that.
extension.
Would that sidewalk need to be redone?
No.
You know,
I think it's in good shape.
It's in great shape.
I didn't know if it had to be congruent with the new sidewalk, okay.
No, I think it would just, at some point, connect
Yeah.
to it.
Because that sidewalk was put in as part of that project at the time. It was just a question of not taking it from the
Yeah.
stop sign on.
So I know it's gonna be a big conversation, but I would like to revisit it at some point, because.
And isn't it in fact, public right of way? So I
It
think the
is.
last time they were being very nice to the neighbors, but that is not a requirement to say you have to have consent from the neighbors before you can put in a sidewalk. It was advised the last time. That whole brand-new sidewalk coming from Estero that should have gone all the way down Connecticut was stopped at Shell Mount
Okay.
because the neighbors
They
complained.
caved.
Yeah, and I mean, just the
I
fact
get
that if someone's taking a walk and they want to walk down,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
the sidewalk ends, that,
Yeah, what does that tell you?
Yeah, they said
so, I
they,
mean, we don't have to, you know, keep going here, we can definitely put it on the agenda and look at it, especially now with these redevelopments and people building, you know,
Right.
maybe, even, I don't know how many people actually bought new houses here on Connecticut, but I would like to see that. And we're gonna hopefully potentially have the bike path or the trail that
Yes.
kind of goes this way too, so to connect all that would be wonderful as well.
One part of the discussion that would kind of solve two issues on Connecticut Street for that holistic scope is the connecting the sidewalk from 216 to Mount House. I'm not too sure, I'm not versed on the storm water project, but if Connecticut Street is on that, perhaps during the stormwater project, that's also the time whenever the sidewalk's installed.
That would be
So it's
that would be,
less, you know, disruption to visitors, disruption to neighbors, and traffic on the street.
Yep,
That'd be
because
good.
stormwater is going in all that Shell Mount Park area.
Especially Shell, yeah, they're already working on Shell Mounts.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, that's, you had the same thought I did, Barbara.
I want to backtrack a bit on
Yes.
the underground exhibit because I know you touched on it, but
Yes.
I think we were supposed to get word of the grant funding. I think that was sometime last month, so do you have an update?
Yes, so unfortunately, we did not get the grant
No.
for the underground exhibit.
Was this the big state arts grant?
Yes.
The one that,
Nobody got it.
nobody got it, right. It
Oh,
got-
really?
it
Is
got
that the
cut.
state?
It got-
Is that the state?
Oh.
Yeah, it was through the state, and and actually, we were in the small 1% of grants that we applied for that did squeak through. But unfortunately, there are some very detailed scopes and projects that they needed within a day's notice to supplement the application that we didn't have at the time ready for them. So perhaps we'll be able to apply for that grant next year if we haven't found additional funding sources from other sources.
So that's delaying our repair of the underground exhibit for at least a year.
So in terms of doing a very large project, yes, but we are working, once we get our collections taken in order, I've been speaking with Jacob, assistant administrator for the town, in terms, as well as the other staff, education, Brianna with collections, in terms of having a smaller scale exhibit with in-house produced material until we are able to raise money for that larger ideal situation exhibit. But that's on the horizon. So that's the more short-term answer, is perhaps a in-house produced exhibit to supplement the material, especially in terms of assisting in self-guided visits to the underground exhibit, or assisting in terms of volunteers who are taking staff down or taking visitors down. So that's one idea, but in terms of the large-scale project, that will be well over probably $100,000 for a
Well
large.
over how much?
$100,000
Okay.
for some of the equipment, just how much AV equipment is these days.
Wow.
That's going to be a distance, so perhaps it might be a capital campaign for the friends.
I was gonna say,
That's
get busy.
I heard yesterday something about $1 million cookies
Yeah, no,
at WorkCap.
yeah, and brownies, I
$1 million
think.
brownies.
Our brownies.
And I'll just speak on that, because I know, Adam, you worked so hard on that grant, and you're looking at other options, and we talked about it yesterday at WorkCab, the pool, you know, the same thing, like, we're just waiting and throwing a bunch of ideas and grant applications and funding sources out there, and we're hoping one sticks. You know, we're not just sitting here waiting. I know you've been researching pretty heavily. Tidal Basin is also researching, and we're trying to put these projects into some categories that will work. And it's going to take that one time that some funding source wants to give us a bunch of money,
Yep.
or private donor, or whatever it is, and we are ready to go on it. It's not something we're just waiting and saying, we'll get to it when we get to it. We're actively I know Adam's been huge on that, is actively trying to get some funding to put that back the way it should be and
Yeah.
can be down there to make it a good experience for
Right,
visitors and
yeah.
guests.
And that is the biggie. I mean, when people come for the
Oh, yeah.
tours, they can't
We
wait. to
realize
get
that,
on
yeah,
the
so that's why Adam said we're gonna try to piecemeal it together
Mhm.
to try to get some kind of
That'd be good.
experience down there,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
good.
a great
That'll
way to do it.
But is the lighting gonna be improved? That's
Definitely
definitely gonna happen.
Yes, we're getting quotes on getting the lighting improved, like the rope lights. You might remember before we had puck lights for when the lights would dim, there'd still be lights for people to navigate safely. So that would be part of a larger quote, as well as getting the electrical system up to grade. Literally up, moving it up. But also having it ready for if we do go the direction of a theatrical exhibit. Instead of more of a traditional exhibit with artifacts and touchscreens and other interactive components. If we do go that route that we had before with an AV experience, the electrical companies are providing quotes that a later AV company can install their systems, so it's already to go. So that's part of the piecemealing that we're doing.
Can the electrical system be hardened so that it can withstand a flood?
So you can make some of the equipment, like the lights and the rope lights, because the exhibit will flood again, and it has twice since Ian. During Hurricane, what was that, Nicole? That one last year?
Did Adalia do?
Idalia, not Nicole.
Idalia.
So 3 times, Nicole, Idalia, and Debbie.
Debbie.
We got knee-deep water. And that's just the reality
On the floor or in the pit?
on the floor.
Floor.
Yes.
Need
So
to-
it comes in from the bottom,
Right.
which
Sure.
is
So it
hard.
comes, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah,
hard.
it's
I mean, we
below-
could do some hardening, and that's Mount Else has been one of those things where we've talked about trying to get some dry-proof doors, flood-proof doors at least. So we have some asks for a few of our properties to get some funding for that. So they are in one of those is the underground. But yeah, it's hard when it comes up from the ground.
Yeah.
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 Exactly.
Doors aren't gonna help.
It just keeps,
Doors-
yeah.
Exactly.
They'll help. I mean, some, but
Not a
Yeah,
lot.
so
Not a lot.
it is flood-proof in the sense that it has survived in terms of the structure of the room, yes.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the AV components, we are planning in already for whatever exhibit we do have that the components are movable. So
Yes.
during hurricane preparation, for example, if we had a kiosk or another interactive, we can move it before a
Right.
storm surge warning or a tropical storm, and moving that even during a coastal flood, not necessarily a formal storm surge event where there's posted warnings. Staff can move it here up to the museum for safekeeping.
and that happens even like with town hall. We're looking at doing that. It's going to be up, but you can move servers, to protect all of your information. So that's just it's been done before, and it continues to be done on.
So it sounds to me that that really that is the way to go. So the idea of basically putting back what was no longer is viable. It's just not a good way to spend money,
Right.
especially the town's money. So is there now an alternative plan to not do that, to say we're going to do this and to find out what that cost would be?
Yeah, so that number I gave out, the $100,000, that's using a projection mapping system, so it's a very advanced projector. And the projectors would be mountable and very quickly able to be deinstalled by staff. So that very most expensive equipment, which is all basically self-contained in a projector. This is not a projection mapper, this is a regular projector. Those start at about 70, 80,000 each for a unit, so we need about 2 down there. And basically it would illuminate and be able to find the grooves and surfaces as if the shell wall was a smooth canvas, but it'd be able to project across many 3-dimensional surfaces. So perhaps instead of the television, we'd use the projector light and project a video, for example, on the shell mound itself and show animations of the shell mound being constructed, for example, in the different layers. Whereby whenever there is a storm, just like in the kiosk example, staff can go down there, the projector, and carry it to safety. And then the surrounding electrical system, which can't really unavoid it being hardwired, because a lot of the electrical system for lighting is already hardwired as well. You use the same system and electrical source. That we've elevated so those more regular floods that are knee-high, it's gonna be installed about a 6-foot level. So it'd have to be a serious flood, which So similar in terms of the experience being a theatrical one, but different in a sense that the actual AV equipment won't be hardwired, but the electrical equipment will be, if that makes sense.
It's almost too bad
Definitely
we
makes
couldn't do
sense.
some mitigation, and we could, I don't even know if this would be possible, is to put it above the,
That ceiling?
above the on the mound somehow decoratively. I don't, it'd be a construction project. But just having like even the electrical panel up top, you know, because that's not gonna probably flood too much, you know?
That's
So
true.
I don't know if that's even a possibility, but it might be nice to maybe think about as far as mitigation goes. And we're still working with FEMA mitigation on trying to protect our own assets.
Yeah,
So.
that's a good idea, because I mean, the AC units are outside.
Similar to that,
so-
yes. So, but it would be, in the long run, I think would help, maybe. So
Yeah,
I
that's a good
have it written down
That's an
to
idea.
think about if we.
That's a
I
great
think
idea.
it's definitely an idea worth pursuing,
Yes.
and I'd like to.
And there's
you know, I
there's
know
good
you
ways
did-
to decorate that, if you will. It's kind
Oh,
of like
yeah.
I do it when we're gonna put some structure over the toilets or whatever. That I think we can do it in some class.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, most
Be an
facilities do that.
exhibit.
That could be it. Yeah, you could have some information on it or something.
right,
Yes, you're right,
exactly.
you're right.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the underground? Barbara?
No, but I think what I'm hearing the two of you say is that you are looking at alternatives, that the alternatives make sense long-term for future storms, which we know will happen, and that you will come back with a draft of what that looks like, not only in terms of the actual equipment, but also in terms of the budget. I would like to see, yes, and you've been very, in fact, I think staff across the board for the town has been very progressive and aggressive in finding grant funding. But I think also this is a responsibility of the town of Fort Myers Beach. I'd like to see at some point some money from our taxpayers to help offset all of the, you know, expenses incurred in this venture. This is the town of Fort Myers Beach Mound House. This was started by the residents, by the community, and it should partially be funded by the community to support things like this. And yes, I think FEMA and, you know, all the other grant funding and tidal basin, all good, all the better, but we can't
Yeah, to your point,
Deny-
if it falls short, we should step in. I think that's right.
We should, and I think we should, like with so many things, we need to set an example to FEMA saying, yes, we recognize that there's a shortfall and we're looking to fix it. I don't see anything in our budget that talks about any capital projects for the Mound House or sustained funding beyond the bare minimum.
Yeah, I think the challenge that Jeff and others are going through at the staff level is that we want to exhaust what our possibilities are with FEMA. And then, I think, to your point, I'm happy to advocate for the town to step in, but I think we want to make sure we get as much as we can through the process, and we don't want to leave anything on the table. And then,
Yeah, I agree.
And especially because at the end, this allows us to do that, so we're looking at every advantage possible.
And you know, when we talk to FEMA and even through tidal basin, to your point, though, I mean, yes, both points is FEMA wants to see us being proactive in getting our own money too. So they're, yeah, we have a lot of things we can go after, a lot of divisions of FEMA that I hadn't even heard of. So, Jim, you know exactly what I'm saying. There's so many, I thought it was just FEMA. No, it's not. So through mitigation and PA and all those. So I think if we can get it out of them and get it out of the state, you know, that helps out our budget with other things, staffing, costs that we have for other things. I'm just trying to think of many capital projects that we have right now. And I don't know that we have many, you know, as far as the town goes.
that aren't related to FEMA.
Yeah. I mean,
that's right.
through strategic plans, you know, before, those kind of got thrown out the window as far as capital, you know, building just for instance, a new community center, something like that. That's kind of gotten also thrown out a little bit. It's still in the plans, but it's just not something we can fund right now.
And at the same time, in a larger picture, our appraised value for Fort Myers Beach is up 43%
Yeah,
this year, and then next year, it's likely to get back to pre-Ian levels. So the revenue will be coming into the town to afford us to have a much more aggressive capital project budget as well. So the future's bright. It's just a process.
Okay, good.
But no, I agree, Barbara, that investing in ourselves is great too.
And I think to a great extent, the town's already been very supportive in terms of general operating, not capital perhaps, but the general operating support of making the Mountain House open and, you know, viable. So that's important, but it would be nice to have the capital projects, and especially with regard to the underground exhibit, which is such a vital part of our programming. The key part, as you say, it's like, you know, the $1 million exhibit, and all of a sudden for 2 years we've not shown it.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll keep
for
that in
all the,
mind.
sorry, and staff watch this and then they kind of get back to me on some certain things, but it's got a message that we aren't able to do capital projects while we have this bridge loan as well. We can't do any capital projects.
A bridge loan?
Or a bridge loan from the state.
Yeah, from the state.
They have certain requirements when you're.
Yeah, one of them, and I forgot about that, so thanks, Sherry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we aren't even able to. That's why I was thinking, I was trying to think of any capital and I couldn't think of one, so.
Yeah, thanks, Jerry.
And
That's
that's
why.
why.
So-
Well, thank you, staff, for.
Yeah, thank you for watching too.
We love that.
But that's a good point. I'm glad it's kind of a.
It's a great update.
I couldn't think of any, and I'm like, we don't have any.
Like,
So.
why aren't we doing it? Okay, those are the, and I'm sorry.
We get fact-checked all the
digress
time.
to what Adam was giving in terms of the report.
Madam Chair, could I digress again, since before we move on to the next section, because you touched on this earlier, I just got to thinking, the person doing the inventory of all the items in storage, that's Brianna, you say?
Yes,
And it sounds like she's very dynamic.
yes.
And I'm the former history major who's coming out here, but these storage facilities, I've never been there, but in my mind my imagination is going wild thinking about what's in these things. I remember when I was out in DC, I had a chance to go what they used to call the attic of the Smithsonian, things that just weren't put on display. And I wonder if there's a way Brianna maybe could bring in some of those items and give a little talk, and maybe it could be a Friends of the Mountain House event, or it could be part of the Speakers Bureau, and she could kind of, I don't know if it's just tiny pottery chips, or if there's all kinds of cool stuff in there. I just don't know, but if you think it would be interesting to people, especially with her enthusiasm, just A, the process, and B, what's in there, I think people would find that really interesting. Maybe I'm wrong, to me that would be really interesting. I have no idea in my mind what we're talking about here. They're either going to be really cool stuff or just tiny little piece of pottery. So is that what it is, Becky?
All of the above.
I think while Teresa was here and I have a van, she had a very small sports car. I hauled boxes of plastic baggies full of bits of pottery, gray,
Shards.
limestone, dusty sort of things with some labels on it. And that pretty much was, we have what, 2,200 artifacts, and mostly they're pieces of pottery.
We have a wide collection. We actually had a program in May where I brought in a selection of 3 artifacts that are not on display. It was coffee and conversation. Ellen, Sherry were here. We had it right here, so it was a chance to see it behind the scenes and learn a little bit more about the collection. So we did that in May, and I'd like to have it repeated.
Yeah, that
No
sounds
worries.
interesting. Yeah.
But definitely, yes. So Brianna and I, we both had museum studies graduate degrees. So a big part of museum study ethics is not just taking care of objects, but also providing public access to objects is equally as important. Preservation and interpretation. It's part of our mission statement, even at Mountain House here. So public access is key. So once we get a better sense of what we have, basically, and getting everything cataloged and squared away, definitely having public access. And my dream is in the town hall facility, not just to have storage, but also a research room, like a research room.
Display, yeah.
Yeah, a small display, maybe to have just collections that the town owns on display throughout different town facilities, so people can be, visiting permitting and read a little bit about the history.
And maybe that draws them to visit the mountain.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say it.
exactly.
I was just gonna
Yes.
say it. Like,
So providing that public access to residents, visitors, researchers, students is definitely on the horizon. In terms of what is the collection, so it's mostly pottery sherds, so broken pieces of pottery, historic nails, faunal remains, so animal bones, and some soil samples. And then, so it's mostly pottery shards, but some of the pottery shards are quite unique, and there's even some historic pottery shards from the Spanish colonial period, as well as the Anglo-American period, so the Case family house. And we've even have some muskets, fired musket lead shot and unfired musket lead shot from a potential Spanish attack on this village in the 1600s, which is probably the coolest thing. So definitely through social media, but in public, so definitely want to do more of that.
Very good.
Nice.
Which leads me to notice that the layers on the mound is not accurate, since we now know that there were people here. So is there any way to update that information?
Yeah, I mean, just like any field of academia, history, and as a humanity and archaeology as a science, new information always is changing things. So that when these exhibits were installed in 2015, they were accurate because that was the knowledge at the time, but more and more research from academics and researchers, like at the University of Florida, who discovered the Spanish muskets and possible raid of the site in 1619. So definitely we'll have, this is also on the list of updating our permanent exhibits. But that'll probably be after like the underground exhibit, for example. So maybe.
Can we use a little marker and just put it?
I was gonna say, no,
Pencil it in.
There are ways to do small little edits. Like I might do that upstairs in the Rancho exhibit. There's a couple word choices that aren't accurate or what's the word, polite, and how they describe people. So definitely want to, so there are ways in terms of industry that you can change words, but in terms of whole panels, that might be better suited for like a strategic plan, an exhibit plan, an interpretive plan, and then for us to move forward with that.
yeah. As far as volunteers go and stuff, when I give the history of the Calusas, I include that now.
Awesome.
So I think maybe if the volunteers could do that, that would help too.
Yes.
We'll get t-shirts made.
Yes. Exactly.
T-shirts.
Which we do have 2 new t-shirts,
Yes.
the popular Mountain House t-shirts. There are 2 new branded t-shirts.
And the old ones are in sale. She already told me.
I already bought 4.
And then the very last thing, just real quick before we move on, if you so choose, would be the education staff, Franklin, actually. They developed lesson plans and entire year curriculum in terms of a partnership with Fort Myers Beach Elementary School to offer both field trips and in-school programs for the students at Fort Myers Beach Elementary School. Not only to further the education and that of the mission of the Mountain House, but also as a recruitment tool for the school that they partnered with Mountain House, they partnered with Florida Gulf Coast University.
Oh, nice.
So
That's nice.
you're going to see more Fort Myers Beach Elementary School students visiting the Mountain House on a monthly basis.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yes.
Good job.
And that's it for the second point.
I just want
Okay.
to, Adam puts this together, and I just want to say thank you, Adam. Every time you talk and give out dates and information, I'm in awe of what you know and your knowledge. So, he runs a good program here, and I know it, and I'm lucky to have him here to do that
We are.
in our department. So, thank
That
you.
was been great.
We appreciate it.
One question
Yes.
on, before we move. Are we doing August, but you,
Because a lot of the July went into August in terms of the projects.
Okay. One
Um,
question with regard to the interpretive signage. If you're going to replace some of those signs that were damaged during the hurricane, you're going to still continue to use the artwork, am I correct?
Yes, if we do replace the sign and it's the same thing, yes.
And do you have the digital files then for all of those artworks?
Yes.
For each sign, okay.
Yep, I have digital exhibits, PDF and some other file system for all the interpretive panels inside and out.
Okay, and so the new signs will be in the same design as they were before, okay. Thank you.
Yes.
One other thing on the staff report that I'm just going to say is, I just thought of this is, because we were talking about putting marker on there and potentially crayons at town council meetings to color these books. Murph came out with their book, their activity book,
Yeah.
and it's awesome. It's
Is
great,
it?
and it's all over town. It's all over. I think it's at Sanibel, all over. So I'm sorry I didn't bring copies. Do you have?
Why do we not have
I
copies?
haven't seen
We-
that.
Are they handouts?
Do we get some?
Yes, we got some.
Okay, I just don't have one for everyone right now, but
That's fine.
yeah, they're free activity books. They're
Oh, that's
at
great.
Publix. They're at all over the
They're at
place.
town hall too, right?
At Town Hall, yeah, I'm sorry, I just thought of it now,
It's
but
okay.
they are amazing. The illustrator was an intern from FGCU. She did a great job.
Nice.
It highlights artwork from the kids that were here at Mount House for that summer program.
Oh, yeah.
So it's good, and they passed them out at council, and I think Dan wanted his crayons or something, I don't know. Color or anything, so we do have Mount House colored pencils, I believe, but
Yeah, we did.
but I just want to give a shout out to them too, because that's a big part of kind of here too, and they come out and they do the pop-up, so that was
That was
the.
kind of-
And that's Jennifer Rusk.
Yeah,
She
did a great job.
is amazing, just
That's awesome.
amazing.
Yeah, so they have money and they continue to print them out, and they're not just cheap, they got a nice hardcover to them a little bit, and you can write it on color.
Great for grandkids, free. I mean, just,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah, they really, they transcend the usual age range, because I've collected 4 of them for my grandchildren who are aging out of that sort of
Yeah.
stuff, but there's enough detail that will keep an adult occupied.
Yeah, and there's enough reading and just
Yeah.
knowledge in there, so that's
Yes.
great, so just want to say, look out for those.
So is that for the staff liaison report? We're done? We're ready
We're
to
done.
move forward? Thank you, Adam. Appreciate that. All right, for the map, we're going to put you back on the
All right.
burner, Adam. That didn't take very long.
Yeah.
For the, and the museum assessment program is the map, is just for your clarification.
Yes.
Updates and discussion.
Yeah, so the MAP team met, I think, 7 or 8 weeks for 2 or 3 hours each meeting with various stakeholders from the Friends of Mount House, CELCAB, Barbara Hill representing CELCAB. Attempted to print it too far, but if you need it, I can also print it out for you as well.
It's 100 and how many pages?
190.
90.
Yes.
Like it's crazy train.
Yeah, my ink was.
Yes. You don't have to read it all, but it's just for your own getting up to speed and edification of what we've discussed. But so the peer reviewer, we've confirmed dates. So Wednesday, September 18th, I printed out a draft agenda. A draft agenda for the 2-day peer reviewer visit to Mount House that he will meet staff. He will follow an FGCU group who's scheduled to be there that day. There's also on Thursday, September 19th at 9 a.m. Make sure I get my days right. There will be a joint meeting between CELCAB and Council where the peer reviewer will be there and other staff like Andy, Jeff, Frankie, me, the peer reviewer, in terms of discussing the governance of Mount House. So you can kind of look over the agenda, but just to list off for viewers at home, there will be an introductory meeting, then a session meeting with peer reviewer and the museum registrar on the collections, a meeting on facilities, security, and disaster management, a session meeting on education and interpretation, that meeting on governance the next day, a section on finance, a section on auxiliary groups, so friends, volunteers, and then finally that exit, including interview. And so of course, CELCAB, I would hope that you would all be here. As you can see, I have you labeled on that second day for that joint meeting.
Can you talk a little bit about what you're hoping to gain from that meeting from 9 to 11?
Yes.
So council members can be responsive to what you're trying to accomplish, and also we manage that time well. What are you thinking about? What's the overall purpose, and what should we be thinking about as CELCAB and as the council as we meet jointly in front of this person?
Yeah, so the main goal of the MAP assessment program is its operations. So governance is going to be a big part of that in terms of where does the buck stop for Mount House? Who's ultimately in charge of signing off on the collections or doing an expansion? So what's the process from staff working with the friends and the volunteers and CELCAB and then council and then the administrative staff in terms of that process for things like, which we'll talk about later, which I think we have a pretty good clear standing on the pathway. But just in terms of all those moving parts that go into the Mound House, because there's so many stakeholders, and then also better defining the roles and responsibilities between all those moving parts, council, CELCAB, the Friends, especially Mound House being in such a unique situation with the Friends of Mound House, who have the ability to host their own programs here at Mound House as well, and really formalizing and professionalizing museum operations in terms of a government system.
Did this ad hoc committee that Barbara participated in, did you lay a course for this, or are you just going to throw it out for discussion?
There was a course laid out in a workbook. There was a governance section that there were some guided questions as well as some readings that we did whereby we discussed. Jeff was also a part of it.
We can get you guys that information just so you can prep it.
It would be good for us to
Yes.
prep,
Of course,
for
yeah.
CELCAB to prep, so we perform admirably in front of this
Yeah.
assessor, you know, and we give you what you want, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I have that down to send out some information and
Yes.
talk to you all.
But don't be shy to give us direction in terms of, hey, here's what they're looking for, here's what we'd like to see.
Yeah, and I know from, correct me if I'm wrong, what we wanted to get out of this is who really is in charge of the collection? Is it the town manager? Is it the council? Is it Adam or I? And I think we have a clear path now, which we'll give it to you and we can discuss at that point.
And then we would in essence affirm it in this joint meeting, is that what would happen?
Affirm it, but also the peer reviewer, so no one's worried like it's going to be the SATs or anything when the peer reviewer is here. The peer reviewer is just here to help, to facilitate dialogue, conversations between the various groups and stakeholders. So conversations between council and CELCAB. I don't think there's been a joint meeting between CELCAB and council in a few years. So reaffirming those bonds and those connections, bringing everyone, all those various stakeholders into the table, and then also just understanding more. And then at the end of his visit, Scott Neal, he's a director at the Fort Steele Museum complex in Oklahoma. He actually works for the Army, so he's very familiar with government ran museums. He also has experience in running Native American museums from his experience running museums in Alaska. But he'll basically providing his feedback and his opinions on how we can work more efficiently with each other. Council, CELCAB, staff, friends.
And that's just one of the pieces in the MAPS program. So it is a big piece on governance and
Yeah.
the collection. So we just are covering all of our bases for sure.
It's also 2-hour block of time, so I want to make sure we don't get off on all kinds of crazy.
Yeah, I
rabbit trails,
mean, that's going to be just, I think we can focus on the maps and the
Yeah, that's
we'll have an agenda for that as well. So.
I
Yeah.
just want to make sure that we work in concert with what you're trying to accomplish with this person who's visiting.
Yeah, we'll put it on an agenda similar to any other public meeting, so we'll have on there, and hopefully won't deviate too far off of it. We all kind of know what we're looking for here, we'll all know at that point, as far as what the meeting is going to entail and what we're trying to accomplish, so.
Yeah. And I did schedule it for 2 hours because you might notice all the other meetings are 1 hour. So I do have an extra hour for deviants. We're not deviants. Deviations.
You've watched council meetings,
So there's yes, for different questions and all our things.
And the ultimate responsibility here is that the American Alliance for Museums is a national organization, and its job through this MAP program, there's MAP 1, there's MAP 2, MAP 3, we're engaging right now in MAP 1, is to go through these series of stages of growth and professionalism to ultimately get to the point where AAM will designate the Mound House as a museum accredited institution. And they'll only do that if we've dotted all our I's and crossed all our T's and, hired the right people and managed the right organization and handled the finances appropriately. So the first step in making all of this come to fruition is what we're engaging in now. So it's a fact-finding.
And I'm guessing this accreditation not only increases our prestige and professionalism, it potentially opens up new funding sources as well, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah, okay.
absolutely. And it is a stringent program, so and I have to tell you, there is only one accredited institution, that's not art or history or just one in general, in all of Southwest Florida. That's 5 counties, and that's the Shell Museum. They're the only institution in Southwest Florida that's accredited.
So you're talking
So
about
the
Edison
Na-
Ford.
So the Naples Museum of the Art is not.
Wow.
Nor Edison Ford.
I'm sorry?
You said also Edison Ford is not?
Nope. It's not.
Wow,
Wow.
that's interesting.
And
It
yeah,
is
again,
stringent.
It's less than 1% of all museums in the United States are accredited.
Wow.
and that's one of our goals in the strategic plan that we had before, was getting it.
So obviously it's a multi-year process. Is there
Yes.
expectation of how many years it will take?
It really depends on the status of the collection.
Okay.
Because one of the core documents, which we're going to be reviewing on the agenda, is the collection management policy, but also having your collections in order, whereby if someone from AAM comes during the assessment review, they can ask to see, I want to see pottery shard 2004.01.776, and you have to find it and bring it to them.
Right.
Do we have that one?
That was really good number.
And we also have to know the legality of the ownership of the collection. There's a lot of items that have been donated through very well-meaning people throughout the years, but there's no documentation that it's legally owned by the town. So we have to have clear and legal title on the collections. Is it our collection? Is it on loan to us, like the collections upstairs in the museum that are on loan from the Florida Museum in Gainesville? So we have to have clear and present title and documentation for every single pottery shard, bone fragment, nail in the collection, over 15,000 items. So depending on that and Florida property law, it could take years. I mean, there's a reason why Edison Ford, Artist Naples are not accredited. It's not that they're not trying. Edison Ford has been doing an active accreditation, I used to work there, for the last 8 years. They've had a full accreditation committee working once a week. Doing that.
Wow.
Really?
So it's Barbara said, it's a stringent, lengthy process. So I couldn't even estimate the years it will take, but we can at least make our status better than it was last year.
So what do you do with these fragments that have no ownership, or that you don't know where you got it? What happens to those?
So thankfully, for most of our collection being archaeological, it was encumbered from town property, which automatically makes it town property because it was found on top property. The other items which have been donated to the museum, or we suspect may not come from a town-owned property, under Florida property law, we have to make 3 public notices over a 6-month period in the public newspaper of the last known address of the potential donor, or the last known donor or heir to the estate of the donor who potentially gave it. And Florida property law says we cannot claim it until 25 years after no one comes forward.
Oh my gosh.
So 2047 is the year, if you're wondering. Or 2049, sorry. From the
That's
day,
if you were to get all of these things ready to go out and posted the notice and everything, so maybe longer than that, obviously.
yeah, and we don't have to have it owned by us to go forward with accreditation.
Okay.
We just have to know what is and what is not owned by us.
Okay.
So we could have something that's been found in the collection and we're doing the proper channels, and they go, oh, okay, good.
Do you have any sense of how long it will take to determine how much within the collection is actually in that category of that?
The way Brianna's working, any day.
Okay.
She, no,
Sunday night.
yeah, she is working at breakneck speed. Every day she gives me an update and it surprises me. So
That's
it's
wonderful.
great. Again,
That is
she's the
awesome.
first full-time, I mean, she's 40 hours a week, she's at the collection. She might be here 5-6 hours doing office work or doing necessary paperwork, but she's there at the collection, sorting
Little
through,
miner's
making
hat.
sense, going through the records.
And the legality of all those that's a huge part of it. Like that's a problem that we haven't done collections like this before.
Yes, so she's the first, again, she's the first person who's been tasked with only the collection in the history of the Mountain House.
Well, and to be honest, you know, we as CELCAB, we've been negligent in terms of wanting to do a map program, not knowing, because we hadn't been told by staff, The collection wasn't accessioned, it wasn't inventoried, it didn't keep close records, and here we were meeting for years, and we never questioned it. So shame on us,
Yeah.
but thankfully, we've got this staff now working on it. So
Yeah,
I'm
'cause that was the
grateful.
question, I know, when I was here, Barbara was like, well, what's going on with the maps? And then Adam thankfully got involved and we found out what was going on with the maps.
It's awful. I feel terrible that we weren't more mindful.
I want to say, though, that I have heard Barbara talk about collections and inventories and things, not just in the last year, but before that, and, you know, asking some questions, but she's probably the only one with museum experience to know what's going on. The other thing I wanted to say is, you know, I think Edison Ford is not, and they're taking 1 week, you know, they have a whole committee working, you know, once a week on this, and what are we doing? We're so small. But I think in this process, we learn an awful lot, and we, you know, even if we never get there for 45 years, our whole thing is being made better
Yes.
as we proceed.
Yeah, and that's
Agreed.
ultimately the goal of the map, and they say it first and up front. It's not to judge, it's not to shame, it's to help. There are hundreds of museums that are much, much, much worse state than we are.
Oh, that's good to hear.
We're very young.
We are very young.
We are.
very young.
So again, the MAP program is all about helping. They're listening. They're giving their opinions. They are no way can judge us or make us feel ashamed. Again, we're going through this formal process as a self-assessment. It's not them assessing us, it's us assessing ourselves. So that's the MAP.
Now the collection management policy, which you all have a copy of.
Yes,
Sure
which
do.
I hope everyone read it
And you all got
beforehand.
the email version, so hopefully you have a chance to review it.
So there was only one change I did make.
All right?
On the third to last page, under, excuse me, the third to last page?
Oh, these are not numbered, these pages.
No, I discovered that after.
Are you gonna send this to us electronically again?
I can again.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, so on the second to last page, so if you go to the back and open it under
Mhm.
landscape care,
Okay,
I did change from a registered public archaeologist, which is a specific certification, to just
museum
a
register.
professional archaeologist. In discussion with fellow colleagues who have an RPA and who are archaeologists.
Okay.
So professional archaeologist is the appropriate.
So in the copy I sent you, it said
Okay.
registered public archaeologist, which is a certification. So this that you have in front of you is up to date.
Okay,
I just wanted to make that
Okay.
clear in case you read it and had to know about it.
Gotcha, got it.
wonderful.
So this is the collection management policy draft. A collection management policy is the sword and shield by which the staff will use to maintain and defend the legality, ethics, as well as proper care, interpretation of the collection through the lens of the museum's mission. It goes under many circumstances and situations that are present, such as accessioning and inventorying, but also addresses things that may come up. So whenever there's a situation such as deaccessioning, which is the process by which you formally and administratively remove an object from a formalized accessioned collection, which of course accessioning is the process of administratively accepting an object as a collection and not just having an object, which we currently do for all collections. So it covers situations by which, if this happens, what do we do? So this is again a policy for staff to use as a sword and shield in terms of enforcing the mission, but more awfully museum standards under ethics, Florida law, and hopefully with this adoption, town policy. So I don't know how you would like to proceed since it's a large document. I can go through
It's
things.
a large document, and now we've had a chance to get the hard copy. I'd like for you all to kind of look this over. I'd like to put this on the agenda for next month, so that we can formally vote to approve this collections policy. This also gives us time to listen to the map reviewer that's coming on September 18th and 19th to kind of, if he has questions of us or if we have questions of him, we now have this document that we have in draft form that we can tell him we're working on it. So it kind of makes us look like we're being much more proactive than we would have been had we not had this in hand. So this is well timed, Adam, and I think next month we'll have it on the agenda for a vote.
Good, yeah.
Do we have a meeting date for next week?
But usually it'll be the same time next month.
Yes, usually.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Barbara, because I think now with having this context, it will help us be
Yes.
a more thoughtful review.
Yeah, we don't want to rush into it.
Right.
We've got time.
Right, yeah.
Just to that previous question, so it would be the 17th of October would be the meeting? If it's, and are we still gonna meet at 2 o'clock?
September?
Is it the 17th will be?
Oh, I'm
meeting
sorry,
the
that's
following-
October, so
Yeah, it's
September.
September.
But if we meet on the 17th, then we won't have the benefit of the mapping
Right.
experience, so,
Well, so
No,
what?
I'm sorry, I was thinking, so it'd be the 26th of September?
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
it's
the
the
26th,
fourth.
so we'll,
Okay.
the map
Oh,
will
it'll be fresh.
will be here, and then we'll have
I'll
a
be
chance to vote
Right.
Okay.
On the
the end
following
of
week?
September.
And then,
Yeah, I'm the country, so I won't be able to even call in, sorry.
just so we have some certainty though, will it be at 2 o'clock again?
Yes.
Next
Yes.
month? Okay.
It's 2 o'clock, I mean, if that works for everyone.
I
I think it's
that
great,
works out
because then I
great.
can still fly out. I love
Our
it.
town hall.
It'll be the chambers. It's just,
Otherwise, I'm trying
So back in town hall.
yeah, back in town.
yeah, I think I
It's
never,
nice here, but Jacob has to bring all of his equipment over here and it's just a little bit of a.
A hassle for him, yeah.
No, we get it.
my recollection is that we moved the meeting up to 2 o'clock to accommodate schedules of.
Oh, that we
people
already
got
did,
things-
yeah. And that's perfect, that's.
Yes.
That's great.
And we're talkative bunch.
That too.
Yeah,
We have a lot to discuss.
Yes.
Okay, for next item on the agenda is marketing and programs for Mountain House 2025.
Yes, so.
I think we have something in our packet maybe
Yeah.
Yes.
handed out for us.
Yeah.
So this is, well, first you have through the end of the year.
Which is great, thank you.
You're welcome.
And can you send this to us electronically so I can just put it right on my calendar for my people that might rent my condo or something?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes, I can. So this document that has on the front September events runs through September, October, November, and December. So this is what we have. We're currently still working on finalizing dates for 2025, but we're currently working on that. But just to go in chronological order, these are just some dates of future programs and events we've planned for the end or for the rest of this calendar year. So we're going to continue with First Friday.
Can we just talk about First Fridays and the success you've had?
Yeah, so First Friday, so starting in April and running through September, this will be our last First Friday of the year. During the summertime, every first Friday of the month, we offer free admission to everyone. So if no one's ever been to the Mountain House, anyone watching, you can come and visit.
Those of you that are watching, not if anybody.
Who haven't been here. You can visit the Mountain House. Every month has a different theme. So since Latinx or Hispanic Heritage Month is September 15th through October 15th, the September 6th, First Friday, will be focusing on the site's Latinx history, especially that with the Rancho period, the Spanish Seminole, and the more broader history as well. Various programs have been are being finalized by staff of basically family with young children centered drop-in activities and events, as well as the tours will be free on those days. And First Friday has been a great success. I don't have the average in front of me, but usually we have at the lowest we ever had, which was I think a fluke. I think we only had like 12 people, but most of them are over 50 people days.
That's fantastic.
I just wanted to highlight that because that is a great
That's
program
I
you
mean,
guys
that's
started.
really nice.
Yes.
Brilliant.
So
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
again, 50 people, that's usually what the Mountain House, in terms of admission, would get in a 2-week or 3-week period.
Do you know, and I guess I should ask this in our meetings, but Have we seen the revenue in the museum store kind of go up on those days? Are people shopping in there?
Oh, definitely. So people are here and they're learning about our future programs and they're coming back to those future programs. And they're also spending money in the museum store on
Wonderful.
items.
So I guess the point I'm getting is that even though we give free admission, you know, revenue-wise, we're still, and they can take a t-shirt home and they're gonna advertise for us.
Good.
Yeah.
And those kind of buy books. I know the Mount House book is popular.
Yes.
So, you know, it's just good to get them in here. You know,
That's great. That's wonderful.
I think that's kind of why, you know, as far as restaurants have happy hour, they get them in, they have some low cost stuff, and then they buy more food. And so it's
Yeah.
kind of the same concept.
We just got that back in Indiana.
What?
Happy hour.
You didn't have it?
No, they banned it. We're,
Oh, during COVID?
yeah, no, way before then. It was,
Congratulations.
yes, and I tell you, every bar owner is so excited about it, so yes.
So we're doing that September 6th. September 21st, we're doing a partnership with Florida Public Archaeology Network. That's Kayak con Arqueología, kayak with archaeology in English. But it's going to be a part of Hispanic Heritage Month, but also Latino Conservation Week, which is a national initiative to get people amongst the Latinx communities out into nature and to enjoy the environment. So we're doing a free kayak tour with FPAN out to Dog Key. We're going to do a citizen science program and doing a report for the state file on Dog Key and teaching people in English and in Spanish. The program will mostly be in Spanish on the archaeology, the history, the environment of Estero Bay and Mount House, but also how to do citizen scientists and be stewards of the environment and stewards of archaeological resources like Dog Key, which if no one knows, Dog Key, which is one of the islands in Estero Bay, is one of the 20 known archaeological sites in Estero Bay. So some of those mangrove islands are not just mangrove islands. Just like the Mount House, they were a village for the Calusa and other indigenous people for hundreds of years. So we're going to do that. They'll also do, we'll have free admission that day because it's only 12 people for a kayak tour. So it's first come, first serve. But we'll have free admission again that day and have free bilingual shell mound tours that Franklin will be giving. And then the Friends of Mount House on September 28th from 2 to 4 will be hosting Island Hopper here at Mount House with Tim James and Jeff Cohen, two songwriters who are basically, if you've heard songs on the radio or songs in movies, you've heard songs they've written. They're quite prolific in the industry, so they'll be performing their songs here, rain or shine, and you can purchase tickets at mounthouse.org/events. And all money will go towards the Friends of Mount House, which is the nonprofit organization that helps support, fundraise, and advocate for the Mount House's initiatives.
Thank you, Jim, for pushing that.
General admission is $50, VIP is $75, and premium VIP is $90. So we've already sold 4 tickets in the first week.
We have a premium.
Yes.
You get to park in a little lot.
Ooh, I gotta do that.
Yes.
So there are only 6 of those tickets available? There's
We've sold 4.
for the premium,
No, 4 tickets in general.
in general, okay.
For this event in
Can I
next
ask,
month.
is that part of the Island Hopper
Yes.
broader network?
Yes.
In other words, do we get their advertising and marketing to help for this event? Does that
Yes.
help sell, does it in essence sell itself because of the popularity? Or do you have to do a lot of work to push it?
No, that does a lot. In fact, when I went, so I finished up on the liquor license yesterday. I spent the afternoon at the State Building in downtown Fort Myers, which I didn't know was there. They were all very helpful, but it's a very laborious process. And when I got to the last stage, and I said, now how long is this going to take? And she says, well, it usually takes about 5 business days. And then she looked at the event and she said, well, we're prioritizing these.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good, and I think, you know, we could probably sell a lot more tickets, especially based on last year and how successful that was. So whether they advertise or not, I think, you know, ours is such a nice small venue that people like to come. And, it rained a little bit last year, but everyone had such a great time.
Yeah.
Pretty intimate setting.
Yes, and we have the same partner for the liquor distributor. He was very, very helpful last year. I'm sure he'll be just as helpful this year.
Yeah, that was a great event.
Yeah.
Moving into September, we're gonna do some light seasonal autumnal decorations around the Mound House Museum, just to get people more in character and to see the Mound House in maybe a little new light. Just some very light decorations. So if you're a volunteer, you'll be getting some updates and helping us decorate some light decorations throughout the museum for the fall season. October 5th, which is a Friday, we're going to be doing Baile Comida, a taste and dance and taste Latinx heritage. So it's going to be a tour on the site's Latino history, a salsa dance lesson, and a sampling of food from various Latin American countries, all within an hour and a half.
I have a question. The Latinx, is that the Heritage Month in September or October?
Both.
Both, so
Yes.
it's 2 months. Ooh.
It used to be a week, but then it was expanded beyond that. So it's September 15th to October 15th.
Ah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
To drum up more conversation about it.
Yeah.
Because the week used to be September 15th to the 22nd, whatever that is, because a lot of countries in Latin America have their Independence Day during that 1 week.
Yeah.
But so they're like, well, we want more than a week, we want a month. So it got expanded to the next 15th, where there's another series of countries that have Independence Days around that middle of October.
I was gonna say, isn't that how long you celebrate your birthday?
Yes,
So is that
exactly.
going to actually happen here, the dance?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, we
that's
had it last year, and the dance
Yeah.
lesson took place here. We did the tour outside, and then upstairs on the patio is where we served food on the
Oh,
enclosed porch. So it's really, really nice. Limited seating,
yes.
so get your tickets now.
And we sold out quickly last year, didn't you?
Yes.
And we've had some good, I was thinking about Nicole and how she sends this out. We've had some good relationships with some of the news media on most of our stories. But I think getting these out to them too, and I can talk to Nicole to see if we can send those out a little bit more and get them, on the news in the morning or something would be good.
Or Beach Talk Radio.
Or Beach Talk Radio, yeah.
Nathan always is very.
So yeah, there's a lot of sources that we can get out. I mean, these are always successful programs, but
Right.
putting the Mound House out there.
And I'll send mine out too, for the media too, absolutely.
Good. And Channel 2, I've caught advertising for the Mountain House.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great.
So,
Is that PBS?
no, NBC.
NBC too.
NBC.
Oh, NBC.
October 15th, date tentative. That's because just before I walked in, David, who was our speaker for the October 15th, he emailed me and something came up and he's unable to make that week. He's traveling from North Carolina to speak to us. So it will be sometime in October. We just haven't nailed a date down because,
Okay.
again, he just
Okay.
researched, but he's the
So-
author of Spanish Seminole. So it'll be a very, a great lecture. So that'll be formerly called our lecture series. We decided to call it a lecture series something instead of just lecture series. We're calling it Community Conversations, and it's going to be more of a formalized process whereby perhaps me and David sit up front in front of the audience and have some dialogue and prepared questions to facilitate discussion between David and I, but also facilitate conversation and interaction between the audience.
I like
So
that.
it's reworked a little bit, and it's also been moved to 7 p.m. instead of 6 p.m. So a lot of people haven't been able to make the lecture series, one, because of traffic, but also people are getting off work late, people who are working, they don't want to come straight from work to this event, they want to go home, shower, change, or if they live in Fort Myers like I do, it's going to take them a while to get to anything that starts at 7. So in my own personal life and the staff, if there's an event that starts at 6, we can't make it.
Right.
If the event starts at 7, I can make that. So
That's
we just
nice.
moved it that 1 hour. So we did tweak it a little bit, but it's the lecture series plus.
Have you thought stylistically about how you would arrange it? Because I'm just thinking, when you go to conferences and they're sitting up on the stage and they're in comfy chairs and they have plants and it's conversational.
Maybe not plants, but I'll work on the comfy chairs.
Yeah.
But a similar setup.
Well,
It'll probably be
we can
these.
probably find someone that's a master gardener that lives up the street that might provide some plants.
I'll work on it.
You know who I'm speaking.
Look how red Adam's face is getting.
So the last Saturday for Halloween, I've always wanted to do a Halloween program, and that's actually Bat Week. So it's a week about raising awareness about bats and
That
how
should be so
important they
much
are
fun.
for the environment and our nature. So they're pollinators. So a lot of our food comes from bats. So discussing bat conversations.
Perfect.
So it's going to be basically
That is a great
I
idea.
love that.
different. It's going to be a trick or treat station, so people can come. It's included with the price of admission. They can dress up if they want, children as well. They can come and they can trick or treat, and volunteers, hopefully, will be at different stations handing out candy and bat facts and take home bat activities like coloring
how
books or
fun.
make your own like cut out
That sounds
bat,
like fun.
things like that.
Is Bay Oaks hosting a Halloween again this year?
And it's not on the same day.
Okay. That's always literally Halloween, isn't it?
No, there's gonna be the week before.
It's the Friday.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the night before.
Okay, so the 26th is what day?
Saturday.
A Saturday, okay.
Yep, so we're doing it during the day, so 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So families and people
Sure,
who
yeah. Oh,
usually
that's
work
lovely.
can come on Saturday.
Yep.
We're very excited. November 8th, Steve, definitely put this one in your calendars. We're doing a collaborative event with the Miccosukee Tribe of Indians of Florida. And this is a tentative title. I still have to run it by them, but the details are pretty much the same. We came up with the title Real to Real, Mass Media and Miccosukee Art. There will be a free community film screening,
Oh, wow.
including on the Mount, here at Mount House. Well, they'll be showing the documentary Real Indian, Finding Hollywood's Indian. And that will be it's a documentary from a Cree Canadian director who will be discussing basically how Native Americans and Native peoples have been portrayed by US media in television, books, movies, and the Miccosukee tribe will be here, including Popeye Osceola, who's the secretary of the Miccosukee tribe currently. And he'll, along with some other tribal members, and they'll be providing some dialogue and conversation on their perspectives of that. As Popeye Osceola says, you know, he's like, I grew up in the 80s. I'm a child of media, of mass media, so they're gonna have that. But before that, you might notice we're gonna have an art reception, Barbara, here at Mount House. For Miccosukee artists will be showing their work for this one-night pop-up art show, for being a very important number to Miccosukee culturally and spiritually. And those 4 art pieces will be on display here in the orientation gallery, and there'll be a small reception. They'll be able to discuss their pieces, and their pieces will basically be the Miccosukee perspective on the United States, as the film is discussing the United States perspective of natives. So it'll be a way of communicating back and talking back to the audience, who will be then watching a film on how the United States thinks of Americans.
So it's actually a film that's going to be shown.
Yes, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be a movie on the mound and an art showing.
Wow.
Very good.
That's
And
very nice.
And the art show will be just the pop-up, it's not going
Yes.
to be exhibited here after, is that?
If they want, again, I still have to talk to the Miccosukee tribal members who are the artists. If they want, they're more than welcome to, but just in terms of logistics,
Yeah.
probably bare minimum. They'll show up, set up their pieces, it'll be on display, they'll be able to talk about it. Whether or not they would want to sell it here, I'm gonna give them that opportunity. If they don't wanna sell it, also give them, of course, it's their works. So,
Now,
still
you
have to work out those more finer details.
Have you worked out an arrangement? I understand there's only 4 artworks that would ostensibly be available for sale. But should they sell one while it's being exhibited, have you worked out a percentage on what the Mount House gets to keep?
No.
May I suggest 30%? So, for example, if an artwork sells for $500, the Mount House gets 30% of that. That's normally with a nonprofit, when working with artists that are exhibiting, that's sort of part of the...
I was gonna give them all the profits, considering the tribal members are driving out here on their own time, and they're coming out here driving out from Tamiami Trail, which is near Miami, the reservation they live at, and they're speaking for free and doing this event for us for free.
For free.
For free.
Okay.
So,
Well, there's that, yeah.
Yeah, I
And
totally get it
are
then.
we charging for this? How much?
it's gonna be free.
It's gonna be free?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It's
Although we
we,
charge them 30%.
I was Just saying.
so if it was
I
a
tried.
yeah. So if it was a paid event, it would increase the cost for the renting and the rights to the film
Right.
that we're showing.
Okay.
So we're making it free to make it
Of course, under
to-
those
to
circumstances.
lower the
yeah.
Totally
cost,
get it.
but also
Yeah.
just to make people more aware that the Miccosukee tribe does exist. They are, along with the Seminole descendants of the Calusa. There was never an erasure. There was never an emptiness. Fort Myers Beach always had people. There was no empty land that people stumbled upon. This land was always occupied by peoples, and their descendants live just in a different place now. So this land has always been filled, has always been occupied, and people just don't know that connection between the Calusa and Seminole, but also many people aren't even aware about the Miccosukee in their existence and how they're a separate sovereign nation, separate and sovereign from the Seminole and the United States government. So learning more about the Miccosukee and furthering that as our mission. And of course, being being a settler-ran indigenous site, there is that in terms of museum best practices and ethics, in terms of forming more collaborative programs. That's why with like the exhibits and stuff, it's now seen as unethical to do exhibits about a community when you don't ask the community what they think about it, at the very least.
Right.
So definitely form as the first foray into, starting this relationship with the Miccosukee tribe as a
Getting
government.
that dialogue going.
Yes.
Given that it's an evening event, would you be interested in approaching them to see if they would think that maybe the Friends of the Mound House should get a liquor license and offer beer and wine for sale at this event?
I'll talk to them about it.
I think that's a great idea, Ellen. I mean, I know that at one point we had, and it's just sort of a more congenial environment. And to not have that for those lecture series going forward changes things. It just so I don't know if that's something that you can have on an.
Is your liquor license then, is it a single? Right now.
Yes, but we can apply for 12 of them each year.
Okay,
each
and
calendar year.
I think we've gone over and over this, but you get, it's like anything under 4 events for the organization, you don't have to go to council for it, then for you guys.
Okay,
So anything under 4 days, you don't have to go to council for it.
okay.
So just
But I just have to go through all the steps I went through yesterday, just,
You just have to prove that you get the liquor license and okay it through the town manager.
okay.
That's all it is. So.
nice.
But I need that stamp from.
And that's, and just for anybody, that's an agreement that we have that the town council brought up through the Friends. So it's not for everyone. It's been a vetted process that, so I just wanted to mention that
And that's
certainly do it.
compliments of the agreement that was formed in 2006, and Barbara Hill's signature is
Exactly.
on that form.
Yep. So I just want to, make you aware that that's the case. If it's,
Yes, but we still have to go through, because I have to get them to sign that.
Yeah, I didn't know if you got one, if it was like a year, or you can just single use, so that's good. That's
Yeah,
good
so
to know.
we can apply for 12 of them, so I'll have to spend an afternoon in downtown Fort Myers every time we apply, but that's okay. But, and that's fine, I'm happy to do that.
That's great.
if That's
Yeah,
what it
thank you.
takes.
Thank you, Ellen.
And I have Jim push it all through it.
Jim, make that happen.
He does, you work magic.
I'm sorry to have to step by, the parking lot for Santini Plaza is trying to get resurfaced and just got delayed a month, and so that was.
Oh,
And Santini Plaza on the south end is becoming really a critical issue for everybody, so.
Yeah.
sorry.
And I know everybody's wanting it to get done. too.
Yeah,
It is getting closer, and some of the shops that are gonna be opening are gonna be spectacular.
Oh, yay.
There's still a couple out there that are even gonna be more spectacular, so I'm sorry to digress.
No, thanks for telling us. That's
Everybody's
exciting.
interested in Santini Plaza, yeah.
Yeah, we all are.
especially those of us that live
Yesterday's
there.
rain,
Yeah.
it's no wonder that things were delayed,
Yeah.
so understood. Understood.
Um,
Great idea, Ellen, thank you for that. Follow through with the liquor license and getting that
Yeah,
operation.
and now we know how to do it.
The process.
So we're doing, I'm hoping also to have a community conversation in November. I'm still finalizing details of the speakers, and it's tentative, so I didn't want to put it in here, so we can add it later. But working on that one. We do have a community conversation in December. Mike Parsons from Florida Gulf Coast University, he'll be briefing on what's in the water and his report and study he did in April of this year. We're going to do some light winter decorations at Mound House. Before that though, I got off track. November 15th is the Mound House's 9th anniversary. So we're going to have a small anniversary celebration.
Cake?
Probably some cake.
Okay, good.
Jeff's
Cake.
coming then.
Cake.
Yes. And then we're doing some light holiday decorations for various different holidays that have been or are celebrated in Southwest Florida throughout the museum. So Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, solstice, etc., etc. We celebrate. We're gonna have story time with Santa, December 21st. There's be a story hour. And then there will be a, I don't have it in here because it's technically 2025, but tentatively, I still have to get some details, but January 4th, 2025, which is a Saturday, that will be, so January 6th, if you're not aware, is
12th night, yeah, it was
is
Epiphany. Right?
is Epiphany, but in most of the Latin American world, and amongst Latino communities, and in Spain, is celebrated as Dia de los Tres Reyes, or Tres Reyes Magos, Day of the Three Wise Men, or the Three Kings, or Three Kings Day. And that is usually celebrated. There's a big festival and parade in Miami, so hoping to really find a holiday niche and do a holiday celebration in terms of earned revenue for the Mountain House, getting new people aware. Because there's so many other holiday traditions, we didn't just want to like try and do like, you know, holiday lights or holiday nights like at Naples Botanical or Essen Ford, because those are different. That's, you know, a huge undertaking. They literally start October 1st decorating at Essen Ford for their holiday event. So doing an event and a holiday that isn't seen, there's no other event in Southwest Florida that celebrates this holiday. And it's kind of like second Christmas for many people of the Latino world, to get a second gift from the Three Wise Men.
Tell my kid.
So we're hoping to do that event, but since January 6th, 2025 is a Monday, and the day Lee County students go back to school, and it's a Monday, the museum isn't open on Mondays, we're gonna do the event on Saturday, January 4th. So more details will follow then, but that kind of follows up the end of the holiday, the festivities.
You're scheduling it on the eve of the eve, how's that?
Kinda, yeah, it'll be during the day.
Yeah.
Day of the Eve.
Yes.
Very ambitious programming. Very
And the Christmas festival is the 13th and 14th of December
Yes, the
at
Christmas,
the Women's Club with the,
Christmas, with a Christmas tree and a wreath.
Christmas tree
And a wreath.
and the wreath.
Yes.
Oh yeah, what date is that?
13th,
13th and 14th.
So Friday and Saturday,
13th.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
Christmas.
on the Women's Club ground with a tent.
And then in terms of the marketing half, so those are programs that we have finalized, or pretty much finalized. We're still working on 2025, but in terms of marketing for 2025, through the VCB, I didn't discover it, other people knew about it, I just found out about it. They do a co-op marketing program, so we are participating in that. So on this landscaped paper with the mini colors, which is mostly for me, just to
I
keep
like the
sense.
mini covers.
Thank you. So we're doing a year-long campaign through the VCB, through their specialized neighborhood. So they're going to be emailing people. Before, they would email people who opt in to learn more about Lee County. And what they discovered is people don't understand how big Lee County is. You know, people think they can, you know, take a cruise out to Pine Island. They can have dinner in downtown Fort Myers and then watch the sunset in Lover's Key in the same day.
No.
In the height of season. So what they discovered is people want to know more about these places that are more realistic, that they can better plan. So they're dividing Lee County into neighborhoods. So Fort Myers Beach is a neighborhood. So Mound House is going to be in this monthly email blog or email blast to subscribed opt-in members who want to learn more about VCB and specifically, or Lee County, and specifically want to know more about Fort Myers Beach. So we're going to be marketed alongside other Fort Myers Beach attractions, accommodations, including restaurants as well. So people will, for example, if they're staying at Pink Shell and they want to have dinner at Yucatan Shrimp, then they can visit Mound House as a more realistic, community-based neighborhood vacation.
What's our demographic that we're targeting for all of our little fun things here?
For the events for September, or
No, for in general in 2025, like,
2025.
yep.
So I do have some audiences. So these are the audiences that they've listed. So we have the audiences who are already interested in Lee County. So we'll write up things that will kind of group us together in terms of people who might already be aware of Fort Myers. And there we have some breakdowns as well in terms of, our traditional museum visitor are usually older, retired, have a higher education, married couple. That's your traditional museum visitor, white. And then you also have, secondarily, we target young families with young children as a secondary demographic that we really go after, especially those with road trips. And then and then our third category of audiences that we generally market and will be marketing through this, if you'll note through the audience for the different categories, people who are coming for a beach vacation. So we're trying to angle it in a sense of if it's raining, if it's storming, if you're sunburnt, if it's day 5 of the beach and you can't take it anymore, you can come to Mount House. As a conversion tactic of converting people who are already planning a beach vacation, whether to Fort Myers Beach or a neighboring competing tourist market, of an alternative destination that can deepen their experience beyond just beach and beach.
Right.
They can have this supplementary element for their families, for getting their children so they don't forget everything during summer vacation or spring break or winter break, or just on the weekends. So those are our 3 big audiences that we target.
And so for 2025, we're not going to be doing any more Spotify, correct?
No, there won't be. We try to get some Spotify for 2025.
Please don't, because
yes.
that's a very young demographic. I just called my Scarborough lady earlier to make sure I was correct, because I do this all the time. So the 29%, 26% of Spotify is 18 to 24, and then the second group with no kids. Mm-hmm. So and then 29% is 25 to 34 with no kids. Mm-hmm. So that's probably not what we really want to be targeting on Spotify. And then the third one is 55 to 70, which is only 19%. So I just think, and not much disposable income. So let's just make sure that we kind of.
Yeah, so if you look at these that we are targeting that we've bought in for 2025, so I think what's really important for the first time, we're really being consistent with our marketing, and that we're, for the winter season, spring, summer, and fall season, we're really hitting the 3 big ones. So Expedia, so people who are already looking or have already booked hotels in Lee County, they're going to get web banners on mobile and desktop on Expedia.
And retargeting, are you going to retarget them too? Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
So people who are booking hotels through I forgot the acronym, but Expedia or a website.
Yeah.
Travel.
Yeah, we know all of them. Yeah.
Travelocity. I forgot the terminology. Those likely have that larger disposable income. Yeah. That are the more traditional visitors or families who are booked, this hotel room or a resort. And then Traveler's Intent, that one, that's kind of that step above conversion. So people who are already looking at Florida vacations, people who are looking at beach vacations in general, and it's targeting especially, there's a whole list. I can email you as well that the VCB makes public as well. So basically it's the Midwest. Missouri, Indiana, Michigan,
very good.
Minnesota. And then also targeting, especially during the springtime, Minneapolis and Boston for spring training. So people who are coming down for spring training, also targeting those people who are coming down for a spring break vacation.
That's nice, yeah.
What about ecotourism?
So that is an element. We still are still developing our overall campaign on which we're going to market these elements to. But the big things that we're going to be really hitching, it's going to be really reach. Getting people that know what we are. So our bread and butter here are our kayak tours and the Underground Museum and Shell Mound tour. So throwing the atlatl, seeing the Shell Mound and kayak tour, like those are our big 3 things for many different visitor types, whether it's families, facilitators, experience seekers. So definitely implementing the eco tours, but haven't necessarily designated them as a separate audience type.
Okay, in this program, it was what it takes the place of the grant that we were going for with VCB. This sort of supplements, or this is instead of. Okay.
Basically, yes.
Okay, great.
So we're able to find some additional funding, thankfully, from the town, which we're very thankful for. that I was able to work with the finance department and move our money around in our budget for next budget year, proposed budget year. Nothing's finalized, of course, until council approves it. But having more money for marketing to cover these costs and additional costs as well. One thing that's not listed on here is we also got the map. So there's basically a map that's distributed throughout many attractions and restaurants in the Fort Myers Beach, Bonita Springs area that shows, I forgot what they're called, but basically it's like a visitor map.
Visitor map, yeah.
Yeah.
I have one of those in my condo.
Yeah.
Did you
I have a
bring one
couple
of
of
those at one point to one of the meetings?
Yeah, I mean they're over there in the
Oh,
office in the
okay.
They're great.
display
They're
rack.
I think maybe all of the restaurants downtown.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I picked
They're all
up,
over.
yeah, everybody, yeah, they're nice to have.
So next calendar year 2025, we're literally going to be on the map. So Mound House will literally be on the
Nice.
map. So people who are pick up the map, reading a pink shell, they can see, oh, Mound House, and they'll see our advertisement in the corner and what we are and what we're about, our website. But yes, definitely answer your question, Barbara. Definitely ecotourism as an element of who we are as an institution and a destination.
Great.
And I know I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but in market geofence, can you tell us the category that you're going to be targeting on that? Just not Lee County, but like with the demographic, are you just older family, 2 kids, visiting the beach area, blah, blah, blah?
I don't have the information right now in terms of which specific audiences they're targeting. Right now, the only information is visitors to Lee County.
I think we really need more money, so I mean, it'll actually just make our dollar go a lot further.
We did that not this summer, but the year before, when we got our money at the last minute, we used Florida Weekly with doing geofencing like the Key West boat. They were trying to hit around there.
Yeah, exactly.
But I never did realize if we got anything out of that or not.
I don't know. I wasn't sent the reports.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely just want to keep
That was
a
on
number of
my
our
end.
impressions on that, and like we can look at the impressions halfway through the buy even, and if we're not getting what we need, we can fine tune it even again. But on all, like I said, please, I volunteer to help
Thank
you
you.
on that.
Much appreciated. And then, in addition to that consistency in the geofencing, we're also doing a targeted email blast in June for family road trippers. So that's one specific audience that we're emailing families with young children who are in the state, which I did not realize Atlanta is considered an in-state market, which is really interesting.
What is?
Atlanta is an in-state market
What?
for marketing purposes.
Drivable.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can drive.
So Pat, you're in state.
Drive to Minnesota.
I didn't know I was in state.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't know that.
Corner, Pat.
So that will be targeting families who have expressed interest in a family road trip or day trip within the state market during the month of June, while school's out.
Interesting.
So we're doing that because we do a lot of family programs here, especially. So that's kind of just a rough outline of the marketing.
Okay.
Not necessarily a marketing plan, but a plan for marketing for 2025 in lieu of, or not in lieu of, just
Very nice.
a little bit better organized than we've been doing.
Okay, thank you very much, Adam. We're just going to move on because the meeting is running a little late. So let's
Yeah,
move
poor guy.
forward.
Do you want a water?
Yeah, give me an update.
Yeah. So right now, we are, been around Newton at all in the last week or two. After the storm, we had a lot of algae that has been picked up on the beach. We contracted with a company to pick it up and use Newton as the kind of the staging ground for that. That should be, they said it was going to be off island by tomorrow, but I didn't see any movement there today. But it was supposed to be a 2-week project, 2-week contract, so they said by tomorrow it'll be hauled. It should be hauled off island. So hopefully that'll cut down on the smell and the sightly thing. So yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where Newton was available. We're already staging it for the sand renourishment program. And it's our property, so we don't have to contract out with somebody else and pay for land to take it. So
To that question, because I know we have a lot to discuss with regard to Newton Park, but a question for our wonderful vice chair with regard to picking up the debris from the storm, raking, if you will, or cleaning. You know, that is nature's way of replenishing the shoreline. You know, the city of Sanibel does not rake its shoreline. It knows that when that algae, it's seaweed, it's stuff
Seaweed, yeah.
it's stuff that comes
It's like a
up
beach
from
rack,
when
yeah.
from when the storm happens and all the beach or the Gulf plants are ripped up because of the storm and the waves. That accumulates along the shore naturally, and that, if it's left, will replenish the shoreline. It's counterintuitive for us as a town to pick that up and put sand in its place. It's just counterintuitive. Just your
It's
thought,
so
you know.
interesting that you say that, because Brad and I were just in Key West last week, and there are literally signs posted all around the beaches that say exactly what you just said.
Yeah, we should not be doing it.
So
I looked into it the other
I mean,
day.
as a council person, is that a conversation
It
that
was-
you've ever heard
It was a
as your term?
conversation that just came up a few weeks ago, and I think the discussion was, and I wasn't part of the colloquy, but something to the effect that when it reaches a certain threshold where it's almost like a public health issue, and literally to the point where nobody can utilize the beach, almost like 2018 red tide, for whatever reason it aggregated in that section pretty intensely. It wasn't your normal beach rack. This was
Right around Junkanoo and
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
south a little bit.
It was not your traditional. Sometimes you have a heavy beach rack and you got a nice line, and the birds love that, and it's great. This was, I think, times 20.
And if you looked at it, and I know we've done it before, this isn't an excuse, but if you looked at it, we still had a lot of debris that came up from Ian. We
it
had
was mixed in.
tables, chairs, I think a toilet came up, some entertainment centers, you know, cans with the old, like Budweiser cans with the old pop top, and you know, so it was full of fishing line and everything too. So it was for our guys to really just go pick through it would have been impossible. But I know that was part of the discussion this time. Was there so much debris in
But to
there?
your point, I don't think there's a general policy to go ahead and automatically clean any beach rack that's
No,
out there.
there's-
This was a pretty unique undercurrent that brought up a lot of, not just the muck, but all that material.
There's a criteria that we need to follow and have to get a permit for from the state to do that. So it's got to
pick
be.
up the debris?
It's got to be the rack line. It's
Okay.
got to be so high, so many feet of it for us to even get a permit to do it. So it's
Okay.
the only caveat to that is when they're doing the, and I don't know why. I haven't been. That's more of a Chad kind of thing. But right now we are raking the beach while they're putting the sand back on.
Which we
for
shouldn't be doing
for the
that either.
renourishment. I don't know. I don't really have an argument one way or the other, but I know that he has advised to that the company.
I think it has something to do with the renourishment process. In order for it to be raked in, I don't know.
It's all Mother Nature. I mean, it does it. It cleans up itself. That's why the oceans are so beautiful.
But I think
So
what he's saying is that as they're pumping it from offshore,
I
in order
understand.
to integrate it with the existing stand, there's a process. Again,
I don't know. Maybe we can put something out, but I don't know. I just know that our guys are.
But that's a
out there.
once every 10-year or 15-year exercise.
And there isn't that-
nourishment.
Right.
Yeah, and we do have a beach rake. So if it does get too out of hand, but I know that's the only thing. So if you see them out there picking up, that's why is because of the sand renourishment program, putting it on for whatever reason. I'm sorry, I don't have that answer.
It's literally renourishing the beach from the north end all the way to the south end, and that'll be over the next, it'll be done by the end of this year. They've already started near Bowditch.
Bowditch, right.
And they're gonna be moving about 1,000 feet a week, and there'll be pipes along the beach. It's probably $40 million worth of sand. It'll be probably the largest beach renourishment in history for Myers Beach. And just to give you a little flavor of it, in front of Leonardo Arms, where they're literally, the water's abutting the seawall there, that will move that out initially 200 feet, and then naturally, it'll erode naturally back to about 75 feet. So once again, you'll be able to walk the entire length of the beach again, like the old days, assuming it all stays. You know,
Yeah.
well, you just never know what Mother Nature's gonna do.
You know, back in the 50s, we couldn't walk the entire stretch of the beach
Is
from
that
time
right?
to time, absolutely. So, you know, it's a barrier island. The
exactly.
giveth and the taketh away.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So there are restrictions on, just to kind of clarify, there are restrictions on how much we can
Okay,
typically pick up. It's not like there's a lot of communities, beachfront that rake their beach every day.
Yeah.
They go up and down and rake
Yep.
it for tourism.
And they shouldn't.
They shouldn't, but they do.
And they shouldn't.
It's the condos.
Yeah, and whatever opinion you have on that, they do it. We do not. We have it in through our council and our ordinances not to do that. So I know the condo associations and
Right.
the hotels love it when we rake the beach because they do their own sometimes. And you can, like I said, you can have your opinion on should or shouldn't, depending on do you have an economic viewpoint of it or do you have an environmental,
right,
so.
are you listening to the chamber, or are you listening to?
Well, and I'm not saying anybody needs to listen anyway, but you can have your own opinion, so I'm not trying to get into that whole debate, but we do have a criteria for it, and.
But to your point, Barbara, I mean, that is sound policy. And I literally saw signs that said exactly what you said all over the beaches at Key West. Yeah.
I would love for you to share that with the rest of council or
I
something.
wish I had taken a picture.
Well,
Oh, I can
we'll
give
go
you
eat
one.
Saturday. and I'll take
I can give you one.
Jeff, because I walked it, well, now that we're back, I walked the south end of the island, and I've noticed debris clearly from Ian. If I see big stuff, can I call the town and
Yeah,
just tell them
please
where
do.
it is?
We did have a cleanup, Keep Lee County
Yeah, they had a
Beautiful.
beach cleanup.
Yeah.
Had a beach cleanup, they were out there for a couple hours and did a great job, but some of it was even, there's
Just
huge
keeps coming. Yeah.
logs of rope from ships or whatever that washed up, and I was out there the next day on the beach and it was a lot of stuff. There was a lot of things
Lawn
out there
chairs.
that just got churned up probably from Ian, that got sucked out and came back on, so. Yeah, it was just unfortunate to see. It looked like, a lot of it looked like a junk pile for a little bit, so.
And then we have our wonderful Chris King, who goes out every morning and
Yeah.
picks up debris right on the beach in front of Island's End. So there are individuals that go out there
I
and,
ran into, I wish I would have gotten her name, but a woman that I was driving up and down and she had her little, like Walmart plastic bag. And she's like, I always walk the beach. I'm like, you might need a bigger bag, we can get going. She ended up showing up as a volunteer to pick the beach with the thing, so I was like, I thanked her for coming out and everyone.
There's a
But,
lot of people who do that.
Yeah.
It's very
Yes,
nice.
I've done it.
I love that.
so,
We
but
all-
anyway, more questions
All
about
right,
that.
yes, go-
But Newton, so that should be off. It's still going to be used for the sand renourishment program till December. Right now, if you've driven past, we've put some temporary fence there with a berm. We still need to find, well, we've located it, the sewer and the water for the restroom trailer. We have the restroom trailer at Town Hall right now.
Oh, nice.
So it's just a matter of hooking it up. We're gonna do a direct connect, like Palm Avenue.
Yep.
And we'll put that there similar to where we were maybe thinking in a plan. So it's always movable though.
Yeah.
But we can
Good.
disconnect it. So then there'll be 8 to 10 parking spots there, I think, just
Oh,
for right
nice.
now. Paid parking, get that back.
Is that gonna be what's the price gonna be on that? Do we know yet on the parking there?
Probably the same as the
Same as
rest.
last time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to get to have that go to our department. We're working on that. And then there'll be we did clear a spot for beach access then on the 17A. I think that's 17A, not the Strand View side, the other side. We're gonna put, we already have the walkway made. We'll put some vegetation there there's little berms.
We know that Carol and them planted a bunch of stuff there already right by their fence, and it's all stuff that's was there before, and they would spent their own money and did that a while back, and it looks really nice already. It's
Okay.
starting to grow up and look really good.
Yeah, and we have some potential, things that we've thrown out there. We talked a little bit about it at CELCAB that maybe we can get some funding in the very near future. But it's one of those things, we have a little bit of money for Newton, not a lot from FEMA. So we gotta be creative on how we use that. But hopefully there's some big things happening that we just need that funding. We just need it, so. We potentially
Exciting.
have that.
Yeah, very exciting. Thank you.
It is exciting.
Can I add one thing to the Newton Park thing? I just wanted to update you on the Strand View
Oh,
property.
good, that's what I was going to
Yes.
Just to give full credit where credit is due, Joe, who lives next to Newton
Right.
Park,
Yep.
he reached out to me
Joe
probably
Carroll.
a month and a half ago and referenced that Strand View was going up for sale. I later saw that it was, at least in the press, that it was listed for $11 million by the condo ownership. It's current, I think it's gonna be destroyed this week, or torn down this
They
week.
have the stuff out there, and I called after you emailed me that. I called and made some phone calls, and they're planning on like next week having it.
I heard-
Yeah, I thought they were supposed
Yeah.
to start today. Like,
Well,
yeah,
they were bringing equipment out there, but I think that they said by next week that they're.
They
It's
did,
done,
they just
it's
did the
done.
golf for the end the other day, and they did a beautiful job, so hopefully they'll do,
I
continue
hope
to do
so,
good work.
Was
yeah.
it that same company that Move It Pros or?
Yes, Remove It Pros.
They have
Yeah.
done a great job. I don't-
They have done a nice job, and they really cleaned
Not
up
advocating for any
afterwards, too.
single company, but I've noticed on the properties that they've done.
Yeah, they've done a really
And they
nice
take
job.
all the materials and they recycle them and they sell them and they
Nice.
they
Oh,
really
that's
do
wonderful.
make
That's
use of
great.
everything they tear down. But is this, but to that point, so I brought it up at the management planning meeting to the town council, and I asked for the council to give authority to the town manager and town staff to begin pursuing grants from the various land trust organizations in Florida and any other opportunity we can find. And the council concurred. I just, at the last town meeting on this past Monday, I asked Jason, who's handling this for the town, to give us an update. He's exploring a litany of grant opportunities. It would be a dynamic where the town would have to initially put the money up, and then we would be reimbursed by one of these various land trusts entirely. And the fact that it's juxtaposed next to an
Yeah.
existing park
Right, it's huge.
is helpful. The fact that we're even going to potentially to approach the organization that helped us get Newton Park originally, and see if they would be interested. But there's 2 or 3 different land trusts in Florida that hopefully we can apply. And they lots of folks have come and said they want to help Fort Myers Beach, but they just haven't found the right spot. This could be the right spot. $11 million is a lot of money, but this concept of a pocket park, plus there's a resiliency aspect of this dynamic too, and that area, as we all learned from the presentation that came to Murph, is that area was the most heavily impacted because there was a crescent on the island.
Right,
It all seems to
right.
focus right in the
Right,
middle
yes.
spot.
Oh, it was, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
And
that.
you can tell how that came
Yeah.
even in this recent one with all the seaweed coming and it just all concentrated in that
Right
one
in that
area.
center.
Not in one area, but.
So folks are optimistic. Hopefully, I think my guess is it probably won't sell immediately with 11 million on the market. So hopefully we can get these land trusts engaged and be part of that. We don't really have the funds quite yet to just go ahead and buy it. But at the same time, letting it sit on the market for a little bit would probably be good because
Yeah,
Yeah, and we'll have to
It's
see what
gonna go down.
the fair market value is on it, because that's what they'll pay for, so.
yeah,
If it's 11 million, it may only be worth
yeah.
6.
6 million, seriously.
So-
Can we start a rumor that we're gonna put a mini carnival permanently at Newton, which would make it really crummy to live next to?
There you
We
go.
can just leave the seaweed there.
there you go. That's the real.
Well, don't do
No,
that.
no rumor, right now, we're getting rid of it.
It's gonna see.
It's going away.
Yes. Otherwise, your phone number is going out to the public instead of mine.
Put up the public anyway, so.
Oh, that's funny.
Very undesirable.
No, we're putting Newton back the way it was intended.
So that Strandview property would increase the size of Newton Park over a third. So
Now, would you keep it a dog park area too?
it's really up to this group as to what we would do.
Oh, well, it has to stay a dog
A
park.
dog park, and that's one of the things we've talked about, and we've tried it in 2 spots, and we got some bad feedback on it. One we couldn't do because it was too close to either the coastal waters or the mangroves, and you can only do it at a certain level away
Distance.
from distance from there. So we've been trying to get one. We wanted to do one at Bay Oaks.
I'm
couldn't
sorry,
do it.
what?
A
Dog park.
Oh, a dog park.
Well,
Oh,
in Newton Park, you would have your dog there, that's why we bought
Yeah,
that
you can,
property.
but just a fenced-in
But you're
dog
just saying
park,
a
there's some-
fenced-in area. Yeah, interesting.
So,
You're-
am I, no, go ahead.
I'm concerned about developers, big developers coming in, buying up different parcels and pushing them together. Is there any concern that that could happen at Strandview?
The property next to it is going to be rehabilitated.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they'll be fine. So, and obviously, we're not going to sell Newton, so there really isn't, at that location, there's not that opportunity. So I think we're safe there. Other places certainly more vulnerable, although I haven't seen, or heard rumors of that happening quite yet.
I haven't either, and I've been waiting.
That concerns me a great deal, is because we have these big developers that want to come in and change the rules and think they can steamroll
Yeah,
us.
and we also talked, I mean, even at BORCAB yesterday, we want to get some parks on that south end too.
Yeah.
We'd love to see that. You know, Newton is kind of the farthest we go with a park, and we'd love to see one on the other side. It's just a matter of
Right.
plan, of course, but we'd love to do something.
Can we
you
do
know,
something like, for a park on the bay side too? Is there any land on the bay side, or would
Well, we have
anyone
this
be?
one.
Newton, that's
Well, I
Bayside.
know, I'm saying like going swimming or something like
We
that.
have Bayside Park, we have that.
Yeah.
And there's this one.
Yeah, well, this one, but I was just saying, thinking
well.
swimming, you know what I mean?
Bay
Just
Oaks
the
is on the back
people.
bay, technically.
It is?
It's all condos
Is
and
it fair to
houses.
say that if this is a pending option for us with regard to acquiring land trust funds, that we would then, at this point, hold off on finalizing Newton Park plans until we have a better idea that there could be a huge expansion?
That's a great question,
Yeah.
Barbara. I don't know.
Yeah.
the
I don't
answer.
know,
It's a good
Barbara.
question because
Yeah.
depending on the funding that we potentially might get, we might have timelines.
Yeah.
You know, we
Yeah.
lost out on a big chunk at Bay Oaks.
Yes.
Because of the time limit
The
ran out of us
timeline.
because of Ian. If we have a grant, let's just say that we gotta at least have everything in motion in a year, that really hampers us. And the land trust, I'm assuming that rate would be quite the process with legal getting involved. So I'm not sure. I think we'd still come up with a plan and possibly we could think about, depending on how it progresses over the next few months, think about what that may look like.
Yeah, keep an open
Because we
mind.
already have a plan for Newton Park, when we all,
Yeah.
got
No, we
together,
did.
worked
We
out
have it,
it.
yeah.
And we had a drawing, that the rendering,
right.
and it was fabulous.
We loved it. We could just, expand it over and have more parking too,
Yeah.
because parking is,
Oh, parking would be
people
good.
would love that, because I
And
can tell you.
we're already increasing parking with that design by,
17 or 18
Yeah.
spots or something?
Really?
yep.
21, so.
I don't remember
know
that
it was
in
a
our
good
conversation.
decision, But
It
as
was the
far as-
one right after, it was what was the visioning session? Can't remember which FEMA department that was.
R2P.
R2P2? Yeah, R2P2.
Yes.
Oh,
That we,
okay.
they
I was-
brought in a designer,
Okay.
a landscape designer, and oh my gosh, she just
Yeah.
was like,
That's awesome.
talk about
That was
creating
great.
colored pencils, that was fantastic.
And because that's what we were looking for, if you remember.
Yes.
We knew what all the moving parts were going to be, but where were they
To
to be
go.
placed, best use?
Yeah, so
these
there's
people
a
came in.
spot for up to 400 people in the design that we like, for either a wedding or an event, that kind of thing, and it's got open access to the, so the problem is if we put a building there, it's gotta be
We're not doing that. We're
15 feet
Let's
up.
not talk about that.
I mean, it's still an option. We have a design through a marketing firm through Tidal Basin that had to design a building for us. It's beautiful, it's got a lot of windows. But we had to do it for a FEMA cost. So they have to basically put a design in for a property that we would have that's
It's
similar.
conceptual.
In order to do a cost estimate. So we do have it and it is a beautiful building.
We love our little trailer.
Yeah.
I understand, but we also have to think about it as a town.
I understand,
And-
but everybody in the area, except for 2 people, really
It's
love it.
really hard for us to get revenue in our department, so.
Did the little arched swing set is that still alive?
Yes, we put it on the ocean side.
It's still alive.
It's actually over, when you come in on Strandview, that's where all the parking is gonna be, on that side.
It would be facing the ocean.
And then it's on the water side of that.
Beautiful, thank you. Yeah.
Jeff, I will help you personally campaign to get events there more this year, after we get that thing done. I will definitely help you raise some money for that thing. There you go.
Yeah, but we have, part of our grants and we do put in a cost estimate for a building, so it just depends
Well,
on.
here's the thing, if you're talking about raising money, though, that goes to our friends,
Right,
because the town can't raise money.
right. No, I'm just
Well,
saying.
we can,
Well, he
we have fee
can.
schedules, so we can rent it out
If he
for
has a
weddings and
wedding,
events.
Oh,
that's what I'm talking about. That's, yeah.
once it's there.
No, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about once it's there, I will make sure we promote it, because it's never been promoted for
Because
having weddings or
Because
anything.
we do have a fee schedule, and we can't really do much besides that, because it's
Yeah.
approved by the council, so.
Right.
The town can raise money in terms of fundraising campaigns. We're a 170C1
Oh, I didn't think you could.
organization.
Yeah, Adam just discovered that.
Oh, I didn't think you guys could, that's interesting.
Yeah, under federal law, municipalities can
Uh-huh.
raise money and accept donations that are tax deductible. So if anyone makes a membership or a donation to the Mount House or the town in general, that is all tax deductible under the IRS.
Oh, wow.
IRS code 170C1.
So, in other
Say
words,
what?
our membership,
You're amazing that you know.
I know.
well, our
Get him and Jason Freeman in a room.
Mount House
That'd be tough.
statute.
You bet.
Yeah,
And
that's,
that's what it
because we're the
falls
town.
under. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's very
Yep,
interesting.
so donations to the Mound House, or if they give a donation to like Bay Oaks, or they write a check to, I don't know, the permitting department, because they really like permitting, that's all tax deductible, they can write off from their taxes.
Huh, interesting.
All right, we are
Yep.
going to move on. Let's go
Sorry.
into member items. Shall we start with Becky?
Sure, nothing, thank you.
Ellen?
Can I put on my friend of the Mound House?
Of course you may.
So we've been talking with Adam and at meetings plotting out a event schedule for 2025. Now that we know how to get temporary liquor licenses, we plan on getting all 12 of them
Wonderful.
and help hosting events. So, including, and we've actually penciled in 2 dates for 2025. January 25. Adam is the one that reminded us that that is the town's 30th anniversary of being a town.
Oh, wow.
2025.
30th anniversary.
30th anniversary. And it is the 25th anniversary of the town acquiring the Mound House property.
Oh.
And it's the 10th anniversary of the museum.
Right.
Yes.
So we have those 3 things to begin celebrating, and we'll host something January 25th,
You
2025.
bet.
Very nice.
Bring in that carnival that somebody suggested.
Yeah.
We're gonna have 3 cakes.
3 cakes. We'll have 3 cakes.
Excellent.
Right.
That's
So, yes, and we'll also, and we penciled in March 29th, 2025 for Artful Intersection. So for
March,
sure have
what is
to-
it?
29.
29.
Ellen, did we say before how you can get tickets to Songwriters? Did we?
Island Hopper, yes.
Or Island Hopper?
No,
Yeah.
we did not. It's if you go to the Island Hopper website, there is a link, and it takes you to the Mound House site. And I actually suggested to Adam and Karina yesterday that we put that prominently on the Mound House website.
It is.
It is there.
It's on our.
I just wanted to make everyone, the hundreds of people that are watching this.
Yeah, because the tickets are unlimited to 100 people.
Thousands.
Yeah,
And-
exactly.
And
Hundreds of thousands.
when everyone leaves today, walk through the gift shop, because we have a new television screen with a digital display with rotating events, including Island Hopper.
Oh, nice.
Nice, good, good.
So, sorry.
And that display just went up today, right?
Yes.
And it was just being talked about last week. That happened quickly.
Yes.
Nice job.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you to Jacob.
Lots of effort. That was good.
That's,
Yeah.
Thank you, Ellen. Great events.
Well, it's a team effort.
Yeah. You have
I'm just
anything
looking at-
prepared?
No, I thought that was a great meeting, very informative. Thank you.
Okay, good. Sherry?
and I was just gonna piggyback and say what Ellen did, and on January 25th, with the anniversaries, it's also with the town. So we're gonna have, our council will
It'll be a party.
It's gonna be a
Yes.
party. And we will, as with tradition, we'll have cupcakes.
Oh.
Yes.
I'm sorry, what was that?
We will have cupcakes.
Oh, yeah,
On
yeah.
the January 25th anniversary
Got it.
celebration, we will also
Because
have
normally we did it on
cupcakes.
New Year's, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so we will
we'll
have
see.
cupcakes.
For the
Good.
Are we selling alcohol that day
That's what
too?
we're doing for.
Are we-
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so we are doing it up.
We are, yeah. Big
I
party.
love it.
You know, there were
That's right.
prints
Yeah.
that were done. I think there were 100 prints of the artists who did a watercolor of the founding of the town.
Really? I
I
haven't heard
have
this.
all of those.
You have all of them?
Gretchen's? I have them all.
Gretchen's. And
Are you gonna sell them?
I can sell them. We can sell them. They're not framed.
Well,
And unfortunately, she passed away, so a lot of them that aren't numbered. But other than that, I've got about maybe over 100.
I certainly think that we
are
should.
they cool?
I was
They're
going to
very
give one
cool.
to each one of the council members because we have new council members now. But we had a great big party to celebrate the opening of the town back in 1995. And
Right.
one of our ladies from the Art Association, very talented, I took a picture and she made a drawing, a print of our party. And it's,
I'd buy one of those.
celebration of
That's
the
very
town.
cool.
And so when she passed, unfortunately, a few years ago, they gave me all the prints.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I
They're
have one that
wonderful.
we actually had framed, and I had it framed so that it hides the electrical panel in our apartment.
Ellen, I got the same thing in my house, not that picture, but same.
Yeah, so, and it's just gorgeous, it's just gorgeous, it's a just, I'll picture it and send it around to the group.
Yeah, send it to the group, that's
I
awesome.
have the
Yeah.
third one, I think, the third print. But anyway, that's something we can have there, and we can, it was donated
Wonderful.
to
Well,
us.
that'll be
That is great.
moneymaker.
Money
Yeah.
maker.
Sell them.
Oh, yeah, you know, and I think we get an auctioneer to make them available via auction. So-
You bet.
Do we have any left?
Or if somebody,
No, I
you
meant-
buy
I meant
a
on the
VIP ticket
on the
for
320.
$500, then you get one for free.
There you go.
Whoa, I like it.
Actually, that's it, that's better than trying to find an auctioneer.
Exactly.
That's it.
Right, that's it, thank you. All right, one thing on the agenda that I'd like to add for next month is our ordinance, which I received a copy of from Amy yesterday, and it was written in 1998 and is woefully out of date for a variety of reasons. And the reason this even came up was because I was looking at CELCAB for much the same thing,
Yes.
which is also outdated. So I would like for us to look this over. I'll tell you, I'm gonna send it to Jeff. Do you have a copy of it?
I can get it.
Well, I can get it. Amy already got it for me, so I'll send it to you. You can send copies to everyone. We can put that on. the
Chances are
agenda
Jason
next
probably, it's
month.
on my keyboard, I just haven't been there.
Yeah, I'll send that to you because we don't want to bother Amy. She's
I
already
will.
looked through it once. Okay, and that's
We'll get
all,
it to you one way or the other, you'll get it.
and that's all I have. We have our date set for next month.
I will not be here, I'm sorry, I'll be out of the country.
Okay, well,
Okay, so
thank you.
they'll
You have
be-
an excused absence.
Thank you. It's my anniversary.
Oh, nice. Well, happy
You're doing somewhere wonderful?
Oh, yes, yeah. I can't say where because my husband doesn't know yet, so I can't say it.
Yeah, this would be a good spot.
Okay, if there is no
We
other.
have two
Sorry.
dates for next month.
Yeah, September
Two dates
19th.
for next month.
Yes.
Yes.
13
Don't forget
days,
that.
26.
The 19th and the 26th.
Yeah,
Correct.
right.
And the 18th if you, so.
Oh, yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
If you want.
If you want.
Now, that brings up an interesting question. We are not obligated to do a meeting every month. If, for example, you feel that by doing the MAP program for September 18th, we can forego a program, this is not a top agenda item. I think we've covered so much at this
Yes.
point with today's meeting. There's nothing really pressing and that requires board action. So how about if we just consider the 18th or the 19th as our
That's a good
meeting, and then we can forego a CELCAB
No,
meeting
no,
until
no, no.
October?
Like-
Oh, the collections policy, yes. Oh,
Yeah, so you have to do
no,
the
Never
math.
mind, the elephant in the room, of
Yeah, we
course.
have to
Yeah, but we
do the
can do
math.
it that day, we can do it as part of the meeting.
We could do that as part of the meeting with the council.
Yeah. It's a public meeting. I mean, you'll all be there as
Yeah.
You
as a
could,
quorum,
I mean,
if you have a quorum.
If you don't want, you know,
And it could be informational for
So
the
that would be
council
our
to see
meeting.
what kind of things we work on.
as,
But then that would, because the
I think it might-
CELCAB meets separately from council, would that be a problem? No, to have it?
I'm just thinking, because this is a dense policy,
Yeah.
and the focus of the joint is governance, so
Yeah.
that might,
Yeah.
Is there a time sensitivity in getting that approved? In other words, can that wait till October?
I mean,
It-
sooner rather than later. I mean, there's no deadline. It's just a nice policy for us to have. So CELCAB can approve it and then forward it to council, so council
So
can
then
pass
they
it
can.
Yeah.
as formal policy for the town.
We'll push
Well,
it
we
back
can
a
plan
couple
on a
months.
very short meeting. Let's,
If it's a
yeah.
single issue, if it's a single agenda item meeting, if it's
That's
just
right, it won't
this.
be very long. I agree with you, Adam.
Yeah,
I think
'cause
it's
otherwise
best
it's
to
gonna
just
be
go
3
ahead and
months out.
have this
Yeah.
separate meeting to clarify and put it as board action item for the collections policy for our archives going forward, to say, yes, this is now something that's officially on board for us to move forward on.
So you're taking the ordinance off that agenda or keeping
No,
it
but
on?
both will be on.
Both of them.
Yeah, I think we'll just
Okay.
do the ordinance and the collection policy, and we'll keep the meeting for the 26th. All right, all in favor of adjourning this meeting? Say aye. Unopposed? Okay, none opposed. Meeting adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.
I got a lot done.
Sorry for the long
Good
meeting.
seeing you. I will be here after September, then I'm pretty much here.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent.
Well, other than just traveling, but
Yeah,
yeah.
well, takes a lot.
Exactly.
So you're surprising your husband.
Well, so every other
That's
year we
nice.
switch off,
Oh.
and it's one year it's his year, and then the next year it's my year,
Oh,
and we don't tell each other